Secretary Putney. I'll be the moderator throughout today. The Big Ten is the first and only conference to conduct a media day for women's volleyball, which creates a unique and special opportunity for the athletes to communicate with you and also celebrate the talent and achievements of some of our remarkable student athletes. On behalf of the Big Ten Conference and the Big Ten Network, we want to thank you for your coverage of Big Ten volleyball. We'd also like to officially welcome the 4 new schools, Oregon, UCLA, Washington, and USC to the Big Ten. Our coaches and student athletes will be rotating through several stations today, so they will have 20 minutes in this room. I will also, for those of you online, be monitoring the Zoom. I just ask that you give us your name and affiliation before asking a question. Ella and Callie are at the back of the room. They have microphones, so please raise your hand and they'll bring the microphone to you so that you again can state your name and affiliation before asking a question. So we're pleased to have with us to kick off the day the Indiana Hoosiers. Head coach Steve Aird, in his 7th season last year, tied a school record for wins in a season and the highest Big Ten win total in 24 years. Delaney Maple, grad transfer from USC as a defensive specialist. And at the far end, Ramsey Gary, a sophomore libero, all Big Ten conference, and set a school record for matches with 20-plus digs. Steve, I'll let you open up with the opening statement.
Appreciate it. Good morning to everyone. Thanks again for having us. Happy day 2. Hope everyone's hanging in there. I'm going to start with the simple thank you to the Big Ten. Some incredible people here going over and above for these young women to have this opportunity to be able to be treated in a way that I think is commensurate with what they're doing in the country, which is perform day in and day out at the highest level. Incredibly entertaining to watch, and wonderful young people, as you'll get to know the 2 beside me. I want to thank Scott Dolson, Jeremy Gray, Maddie White, the administration at Indiana. They want Indiana to be good at volleyball, and they have, and they've been very supportive. Incredibly thankful and grateful for the opportunity to lead the program. I've been around the Big Ten since '97. I was a student athlete at Penn State and was able to play in 3 Final Fours, and now, I think this is my 22nd or 23rd preseason in the NCAA. So just incredibly grateful. I don't know if I've ever been more excited about where the conference is. I've been proud to be in the Big Ten for a very long time, but adding some spectacular programs with great histories is something we're very, very excited about. Very excited to get the day going. Lastly, we did not coordinate the outfits, but we do look good. Shout out to Hot Sam's in Detroit, Michigan for my blazer. And with that, let's get it going. Here we go.
Aaron down front.
Good morning. Aaron Ferguson, Wisconsin State Journal for Delaney and Ramsey. You guys see a lot of serves. What are the most difficult serves to handle, and what makes them difficult?
Personally, I would say probably a float serve. I know everyone says top spin, but float serve, it kind of just floats in the air, and you have to be really patient with it. So I think that would be my most difficult serve.
I think I would also say a float serve, but I have been messing around with the top spin, so I think it's fun for me to receive it after realizing, I think it helps me figure out what works with my top spin. So I think I enjoy, but also probably hate the most of passing a top spin. It's most rewarding if it works out well.
Alana in the back.
Good morning. My name's Alana. I'm with 5 Wins. Delaney, I wanted to hear about your transition to get your land legs. And Ramsey, what have you seen from her in the gym?
Yeah, it's been super fun. It's been super rewarding. I think I got really comfortable in the sand, and I kind of got to a point where I was feeling really good about my game, feeling really confident by the end of season. And then 2 weeks later, I was like Bambi again. And I think it was really humbling, but probably one of the best things I could have done for myself. It's been so much fun. They've been so helpful. I've been having Ramsey give me privates because she's obviously knows so much about the game. And I think being at Indiana was a perfect spot for me to transition into because the players have just been super helpful with kind of just giving me feedback throughout every play, every practice, and kind of being 18 different coaches, which has been incredible. And I'm super excited to see where it goes, but I'm really happy to be back and getting used to wearing shoes again.
She's a beast. She doesn't need anybody to teach her anything. We just kind of have to help her with little things. Just knowing the game it's different. I mean, beach and indoor is completely different games. So just little things here and there to help her with her game indoor. She was learning how to like dive. She doesn't really dive in the beach world, so just like teaching her little things like that. But she's a beast all around. She doesn't need that much help.
So Steve, I'm curious with the two-bro system, is this something you consider, or is it doesn't fit what you want to do?
I think Ramsey's one of the best players in the country. Period. She's my libero, and she will be my libero. We'll be creative, I think, about the other libero slot. Whether it's someone like Kenzie Daphne, who is a phenomenal jump server, might be in that slot. Maybe get some looks at various times during the season. But Ramsey's my girl. That's how that works.
Lincoln Arneal, Huskers Illustrated. Steve, between Delaynie and Jade, you may have the most interesting group of transfers you have. How do you balance having a Division I athlete and a law school student?
Yeah, Jade's unique in a lot of ways. Her story, and I'll be brief. She was at the University of Toronto. I'm obviously Canadian and kind of knew about her from some people back home. She gets into law school at Indiana, says she wants to play, and this was last year. And I sat down with her, and it wasn't going to work. Like the law classes were incredible, and she met with the dean, said, hey, listen, I need to do this, this, and this to be able to compete. We got her in the gym a little bit, saw what she could do. She's a nice volleyball player, and more importantly, she's an incredible young woman. Maybe at one point in my life I might need representation, so this is a really smart move by me. But she's a great kid, unbelievable human being, and for someone to, last year she was in the gym watching practice. She was coming to matches. She was around the team. Whether she'll have a tremendous impact on the court or not will be determined. But as a human being, one of my biggest things in life is you want people who want to be there. And you want people who want to buy into what you do and how you do it. And her story, battling through injury and becoming who she is as a human being, is something I'm incredibly proud of. So it'll be fun. And this one was unique. Delaynie was unique. My associate head coach, Rachel, had known her a long time. My assistant coach, Kevin Hodge, is one of my best friends and was my college roommate, someone I trust and love. And they both said, hey, listen, the kid's got game. I knew she could play the sport. What I didn't know is how incredible a human being she was, and I'm pretty lucky to be able to be around her every day. She's going to make us better in a million different ways. And we've been able to attract some really neat people. I think the culture, every coach will be up here and talk about culture and talk about this and talk about that. And coach speak is coach speak, but they'll tell you we're getting to the point now with the way recruiting's going, and we've got a couple top 5 classes in the next few years, and these guys have worked so hard to build it. And Ramsey will tell you, I think we've known each other since she was in 9th grade. What we started with and where we are, it's because of people like these two that we've been able to be a little bit better.
Coach and athletes, we have some students with us from Brunson Academy here in Chicago. They're kind of dipping their toes in journalism, so they're going to ask you a few questions. 7th and 8th graders.
Coach, my name is Jason Wester from Milton Brownson Elementary School. My question for you is, what is your main objective for your team this season?
It's a great question, something we think about a lot. Appreciate the question. I think we do a pretty good job of really keeping blinders on and just worrying about our program. I laugh with people. I've been to 6 Final Fours. I've won 2 titles. My first assistant coaching job when I was 23 years old, the team went 1-27. So we lost 27 times, we won once. I've kind of seen bookends of how it works, having really a ton of success and then kind of grinding through it. There's some teams in the conference, their goal is to win a national championship. There's some teams that are trying to build. What I would say about us now is I really feel we've got our feet underneath us. We're starting to play ball at a really high level. I wouldn't tell you that we're the best team in the conference or the best team in the country, but we do some things that'll stress some people out, and we're going to focus on us. One of my favorite sayings lately is you want to find a group or find a tribe of people that you're okay to lose with. You're not going to win every match, but you want to have fun. You want to believe in your people. You want to trust your people. You want kids who come early and stay late and care about each other. And that's the vibe I have with the group right now. So we're going to do what we do. We're going to do what we do well. We're going to try to represent the school at the highest level. And we're going to have a heck of a lot of fun doing it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep the blinders on and just worry about IU.
Coach, my name is Duke Murray, and I'm from Bronson Elementary School. My question is, why did you pick that team to name with?
So why did I come to Indiana? Is that what you're saying, Duke? Yeah, so for me, I'm from Toronto, so I'm a Canadian guy, but I've been in the Big Ten a really long time. And when I decided to take the job at Indiana, a lot of it was the support and the people. Indiana is an unbelievable volleyball state. It has incredible coaches, incredible players. For me, the distance from home was awesome. I could still see mom and dad and my brother and my friends back home. And I just thought it was a sleeping giant. I thought if we did the right stuff and recruited the right people, we could have a lot of success and have fun doing it. The administration at Indiana has been incredible. The support in Bloomington has been incredible. So it's just it's a really cool spot. You should come check it out, man. When you get a chance, come visit. I'll take you out to dinner. All right.
Hello, Steve McGargy, Associated Press. Just wondering, this is for Steve, and if either of the players want to chime in as well. There's been so much made about the growth in attendance, TV ratings, how much the sport's exploded in the last few years. Why do you think that's been the case? Why the increased popularity now? And how would you like to see college volleyball kind of capitalize on this moment y'all are having?
Yeah, I think the confluence of social media, streaming, access, getting to know the players and the people, I think has been a huge deal. I was doing a thing this morning about the 2007 to 10 Penn State streak that I was a small part of. But some of the matches early, we played Stanford, it wasn't on TV. You really couldn't get to know the players. But now through social media, I think people are really getting to know the kids. I think the sport as an entertainment event for a family, for people, is incredibly fun. It's fast-paced. They're incredible athletes. So I think it's a confluence of a lot of stuff. The groundswell of it, I remember 2008 when the Olympics, indoor stuff was rolling and beach was rolling, and it kind of took a bump. Obviously incredibly proud right now of where the national teams are in the Olympics and the beach teams, and Delaynie would know it better than I would, but people care about stuff when they get to know you and they get to know the kids and they get to spend time and you get to tell them the story. And I think through social media, through television, through streaming, it's been able to do that at a really high level. So if you watch any of these documentaries on Prime with the football stuff or the soccer stuff, I just think the more we can tell the story of these people. I mean, these two are such incredible people, and they work so hard, and they're so good at what they do that there won't be many people in Bloomington that meet them that aren't going to want to root for them. And I think that's hopefully what's happening with the sport across the country.
I would say personally for me, it's kind of cool to be in it right now. I could say it's just having an impact on little girls is huge, and I want to continue to tell my story for little girls to see and just to look up to, because I was a little girl once looking up to them.
Yeah, I also think that the NIL space has really kind of grown viewership too. I think you're able to, if you follow somebody on, let's say, Instagram, and you see the brands that they partner with, it kind of usually aligns with what they're passionate about, and I feel like it's a different way to also get to know people and get to know, if these are players that you really want to follow. And for me, being in beach volleyball last year, I felt like I knew Ramsey just through so many of the different media, opportunities that these players get to have. And I'm really excited to be a part of it and see where it goes. But I think, honestly, it's just the beginning for volleyball, which is really, really exciting.
Ramsey, you spent time this summer in the U21 level. Could you talk about how playing in the Big Ten prepared you for success there and some of the takeaways you're going to bring to the court this year?
Yeah, great question. It was really cool to train with them. I think half of the team was Big Ten, so just playing with them really helped. I mean, I competed with them all season right before we went there, so it was really cool to see them, and just the competitive level with our team. We train every day in the spring, really got me ready for U19. It's super cool to see. I think my biggest takeaway from it was probably my leadership role. I really took that on during the summer and spring, so just continuing that during the fall is my big takeaway.
Steve, did you pick up some buffs while you were in Detroit getting your jacket, or? Is that against your Canadian heritage?
Again, shout out Hot Sam's, Detroit, Michigan. Fine menswear. Those are my guys. Shout out Jalen Rose. Yeah, man, Detroit's my city. You know, I grew up across the border, and that's where I meet my parents and my brother and whatnot. But yeah, if you need some fine menswear, that's your spot.
I may have to check them out.
All right.
But actually, with the house sharing, or the revenue sharing house settlement coming, how does that impact your program for the future, and how do you plan to use that?
I've got a couple pretty strong opinions on this. Number one is I feel like the athletes should make money. So I remember my days at Penn State where you'd show up to the football stadium and there was 100,000 people at a game and half of them were wearing jersey number blank. And I would see those guys, you know, trying to find money for dinner and couldn't afford jeans and stuff like that. So I do feel like I want athletes to get paid. I don't think any of us know right now what that's going to mean. I think our responsibility, as kind of these guys have said, is to try to do a good job and entertain, keep growing the sport, get in front of people. More and more people see it, more eyeballs, more people buying tickets, more revenue. As a coach, I want everything I could possibly get for these guys. And Delaney, not so much because she just got here, but Rams will tell you. I spent a lot of time trying to make sure anything that we can provide for them, we're going to do it. That's something, again, to Indiana's credit. I think they care. They understand where this sport is in the conference. They really want it to be well. But when I see young women with endorsements and doing stuff and having success, I am 100% there for it, and I want to make sure it continues. I think the big elephant in the room for all of us is we don't know what that's going to mean or how that's going to look. I think some really, really smart people are in rooms trying to figure that out, and when they let me know, I'll let you know. All right.
To follow up on that, one of the things is the scholarship limit and the roster limit. Are you having conversations with administration? I imagine all the coaches at Indiana are. What are those conversations like, and do you think 18 is an appropriate number for roster size?
Yeah, I think I was happy to see 18 as a number. We didn't really want to go lower in terms of opportunities for women to compete. I didn't think that would have been a very good thing. Again, I think our administration, presidents, ADs, especially in the conference, are sitting down and trying to figure out, okay, what's going to be equitable? How is it going to make sense? And then a lot of decisions are going to be made locally. So I'm very fortunate, Scott and Jeremy and Maddie White, and they're really smart and they care, and they're going to sit down and they're going to say, hey, listen, this is what we're trying to figure out and how it's going to work. Like I said, I got a business background. If it turns into a general manager type of situation, I'm going to be really comfortable in that space. I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to try to do what I can to build the best roster and represent the school the best we can. I think there's just so many unknowns right now. I think once they figure out how football is going to work, and it's the Title IX component, it's where's the money going to go and how, who's generating what. All of those things I think are being talked about kind of at the C level. And my hope is that sooner than later we'll start to have some answers about what direction we're going to go, and then be able to locally kind of navigate and figure out how that's going to affect the volleyball program in Indiana.
I'm Serenity Scott from Milton Brunson Elementary, and I just wanted to ask, have you ever thought about quitting volleyball before?
Great question. Many times, especially hard practices, that's the first thing you want to think of is just to quit. It's the easy way out. But I think we're kind of wired. We want more. We're very competitive. We like to win. So honestly, I love the sport of volleyball. I love everything about it, even the hard workouts. I know it's hard in the moment, but it's all worth it in the end.
Yeah, I'd echo that too. I think if you ask any top competitive athlete, they're going to say at one point in their career that they were like, this is it for me. It gets really tough, but I also think that when you overcome those days, it makes it all worth it. It honestly pushes you a lot more. I know the days throughout my undergrad at USC, there were a lot of days where I thought that this is the hardest thing I've ever done, and I don't know if I can do it tomorrow, but I know that then when the next day comes, it's the most rewarding thing, and I think it's why so many top athletes always go back to their sport when they say that, they're strong people, or, how their personalities have emerged and whatnot, and I think that's a huge thing to, credit, and it's been really cool watching the Olympics, because I feel like a lot of also Olympic athletes, they get asked this question, and all of them say the same thing, so it's cool to know that you're not alone, and wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't have 17 other girls with me every day. My advice for you is, on the other side of hard,
is always like total joy. And you'll get to a point in your career where you got to make a decision and you'll be like, man, this is really tough. If you can just get past that part, the other side of it is a lot of fun. And I think these guys will tell you the same thing. Like, these guys are in the 1% of 1%, but it takes a lot of hard work and kind of what you guys are doing right now and learning more and being here when other people are maybe sleeping. It's a pretty good move by y'all.
Steve, Delaynie, Ramsey, thanks so much. We appreciate you joining us. Best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Finished last year 23-9. Dave Shondell, in his 22nd season, finished 23-9, tied for third in the Big Ten Conference, and made a good run in the postseason, made it to the Sweet 16. Lourdes Meyers, to his right, senior middle blocker. She led the team in attack percentage last year at .333. And at the end, Chloe Chicoine, sophomore outside hitter, unanimous All Big Ten freshman team, and as a freshman, first team All Big Ten. Dave, I'll let you open up with a statement.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks to all of you for being here. We were cautiously optimistic going into this 2024 season. We were probably a little better than expected a year ago with a very young team and learned a lot as the season went on. Very proud to be here with Lourdes and Chloe, who are two really, really key people on our team, but we've got a whole bunch of them that we're excited about. You know, going into the season, I'm a little concerned because the league is going to be so good. But I trust our team so much. I got a chance to spend a lot of time with them in Europe on our spring trip that we took over their foreign trip, and they just got better every day. And so I think they feel good about who they are, and the league is going to be really, really good. But I think if we continue to compete the way that we have, this group has for the last year, then we'll have our shot at having another really good season.
Okay, just a reminder, we have Ella and Callie with microphones, so please state your name and affiliation if you have a question. Let's go to Alana in the back.
Alana Goldman of 5 Wins. I wanted to hear about the potential atmosphere in Mackey and how that'll be an adjustment from playing in the intimacy of Holloway.
I think we, as a team, thrive in big environments like that, so I think we're super excited and we're ready and, yeah, super happy to play in Mackey this year.
Yeah, Purdue's fan base is just insane. Like, if you watch football, basketball, women's basketball, obviously volleyball, everybody comes out and has a great time. So I think it's really neat that we get the opportunity to finally play in Mackey, and we have something called the Paint Crew that can combine with our boiler block, and it'll be a really fun experience.
Aaron Ferguson, Wisconsin State Journal. Dave, with the House settlement regarding revenue sharing coming down the line at some point, and I know details are still being worked out, but how does that change kind of your point of view and how you manage your program going forward?
Not enough information, unfortunately. You know, I've been in a lot of conversations with our administration about that. They don't have answers yet, so to answer that question would be a real challenge for me. I think that being in the Big Ten, you're in a better position than a lot of conferences are for that. I know our administration is convinced that we're going to be able to provide the funding that is going to be the cap, and so I'm excited about that. How gender equity comes into play is something that has not been determined, but I do believe being at Purdue in the Big Ten is a good place to be when that does start to happen. Thank you.
Lincoln Arneal, Huskers Illustrated. Dave, we heard the players talk about the excitement of playing in the big gym, but that's also an NBC broadcast. How excited are you about that opportunity to have a network game at home?
I'm just pleased that we're at a point right now that we're being considered for those things in a league full of teams that have unbelievable traditions. And we've worked hard over the course of time to get to this point. We have some exciting players. If we didn't have the players we have, we wouldn't be on NBC. We wouldn't have 12 or 13 games on linear TV. So I think that's a credit to our players and what they have done. The same with being in Mackey. You don't go in Mackey unless you can get 14,000 people. and we think we'll get 14,000 people. We think Boilermaker Nation will thrive in that environment. So, but I'm just happy that we're at this point, and a lot of people have done a lot of things to help us get here, and so hopefully we can pack Mackey and we can have another great season. And Holloway Gym's a great place to play, as John Cook knows, okay? It's one of the places he doesn't like to go to, and that's because it's tight and it's packed, and there aren't a lot of facilities for coaches to go to when they visit. So, but we're excited about it, and this should be a grand season for Purdue.
So aside from Holloway and Mackey, where do you guys like to visit the most to play in the Big Ten?
I love playing at Ohio State. They have a nice gym, and it's really intense in there when we're there. So I'd say Ohio State.
I haven't been everywhere yet. I'm still going to be a sophomore, but I really enjoyed Indiana last year just because it was a rivalry game, and it always is just so much fun. We blare their fight song and practices before to get us ready, which is super fun. And then I also like playing at Penn State's because their student section is right on top of you.
The trip, Dave, to Europe, can you talk about how that benefits the team from a connection perspective, but then also competitive? Was there more value in one or the other? And I'd also be interested in hearing from the players.
Yeah, I think for us on this trip, it benefited us more just pulling our team together. Even though we had a veteran group that was going over there, we added our 3 incoming freshmen, and I thought that was really important. We had a lot of fun. There were no problems. The only concern that we had was that we didn't get the schedule we thought we were going to get. We went over there. There were 3 teams in Turkey, professional teams that were going to be 3 of the best opponents we were going to play, and they weren't there when we got there. So we had to kind of makeshift our schedule together. But on the other hand, it allowed us to play everybody a lot of volleyball. All of our roster got a lot of minutes, so that was a positive. But I'm all about competing, to be honest with you, and so when we're going to spend that kind of money to go over there, we want to play good people, and we want to compete, and we want to see how good we are, and we didn't get that opportunity.
I really enjoyed the overseas trip personally. I think it gave us a great opportunity to get closer with a lot of the younger girls, like the new freshman who didn't come early, and that was Sienna, so it was fun to get closer to her. But I think we just made a lot of memories, and when you're overseas, you don't have everything that goes on here, so it's really just all of us, volleyball, and just exploring, so that was really exciting.
Yeah, I agree. I was super happy to be down there with the team and felt like we bonded really well, and it helped us connect on the court, and I feel like we created a lot of chemistry down there, and I love how Sienna and Ryan and the other freshmen were allowed to come on the trip with us. I feel like that brought us a lot closer with them, so yeah.
Morning. I'm Chris with Fox Chicago. For both of the players, being a part of the growth of volleyball right now, what's that perspective like for both of you guys?
I'm just really excited and happy to be at Purdue because, I mean, I've been watching volleyball for a long time, and I grew up coming to these games, and just being able to play at Purdue now and seeing the kind of support we have, not just at Purdue, but everywhere in the Big Ten. Volleyball is just growing, and it's really fun to see, and it just makes all of us happy, and we just want to keep growing the sport.
Yeah, I agree. I'm happy to be at Purdue during this time and have this opportunity to experience volleyball growing and finally getting recognized, so I think it's pretty cool.
Chloe and Dave, what did you see last year from Grace Heaney, kind of the development classmate of yours? How did you kind of go through that freshman year with her? And Dave, what growth did you see through that campaign from Grace?
Well, I roomed with Grace over the summer, actually. We were in different dorms, but we were close together, so we were with each other all the time. But she's a lefty, which is really valuable on the right side, and she just developed so much. I mean, she's just very shotty, and she's very smart with where she puts the ball, and I think she gained some muscle and confidence in herself. And there was a part in the middle of the Big Ten where she was just thriving, and I think we're going to keep seeing that down the road.
Yeah, she's the epitome of a student athlete. You know, she's an engineering major and played a lot as a freshman. You know, she probably started most of the time in that opposite position, switching some time with Kenna Woolard. And, you know, she's had some physical issues here this spring, and we're hoping that, you know, she'll recuperate quickly from that. But she's a great learner. She's a great worker. She's everything that we look for when we recruit a player to come to Purdue. She fits Purdue to a T.
Let's go in the back.
Dave, you've been through realignment a couple times now with the Big Ten. How different is it this year with the 4 Western schools as opposed to the first time when Nebraska, Maryland came through? What kind of biggest differences stand out to you in realignment?
Just the name brand of UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington, the success that they have already had. Obviously, Nebraska had great success too. And, but the unknown, you know, we just don't know those teams right now. And we're only going to play them one time. So how well you can prepare and put your scouting report together for those teams will be really, really important. But a lot of people have made a big deal about them being on the other side of the country and the travel. We're going to charter fly out there. It's going to be another, I don't know, maybe an hour longer than it might be going to some places. It's not a big deal. We're excited about it, the opportunity to play in Pauley Pavilion and some of those great venues that we've known about before. And I think our players will enjoy that, and it just makes our conference that much stronger. And that's what we're trying to do in the Big Ten, be the best.
Coach and student athletes, we have some students from Brunson Academy here in Chicago, 7th and 8th graders who are aspiring journalists. They'd love to ask you a few questions.
I'm Serenity Scott from Brunson Elementary, and for the players, I want to ask, who have you played against that you feel like gave you the most of a challenge?
I'd say everyone in the Big Ten is really hard. I mean, it's just hard to choose one game. I mean, even people who aren't at the top, we've lost to. I mean, it's just hard. Every night you go in, you know it's going to be a battle. But I'd say we lost to Oregon. We got swept by Oregon in the Sweet 16. So I'd say that was the one team that really kind of swept us and beat us down, but probably them.
Yeah, I feel like every team is good, so we just go in and step on the court, and we have to compete because everyone is coming to compete as hard as well as we are. So I think everyone is, everyone's good.
My name is Duke, and I am from Grote Elementary School. My question is, what inspired you to play volleyball?
I would say my mom. She's the one that introduced me to volleyball.
Yeah, I would say my mom too. She played in college, and she introduced me to volleyball too.
Dave, how excited are you to coach Allie, and what's the separation between Uncle Dave and Coach Shondell?
First of all, great questions by you guys. Tremendous job. I spent 23 years teaching elementary and middle school, and you guys have represented those levels very well. So thank you for being here. Appreciate you. We'll find out. You know, Allie is my niece. It's John's daughter, and I've watched her grow up and play the game, and she's become great because of her work ethic. She just spent a tremendous amount of time in the gym, being one of the most highly recruited setters in the country in her class. Her expectations are high, which is good. They have to be if you're going to play in this league. But we have a really good relationship. She's a really neat kid, and I want her to outwork everybody in the gym. That's the only way she's going to be successful, is continue to do what she's been doing. But she delivers the ball great. She's a little bit undersized in the Big Ten. She's about 5'9", about your height, Allie?
She's a little taller.
A little taller than that? Okay. So I'm looking forward to it because she's a tremendous person, and we want as many of those in our gym as we can get. Yeah.
My name is Jason Weston from Bronson Elementary. Question for the players. How did y'all feel in y'all first ever NCAA tournament game?
My first game was Fairfield last year, and I was a little bit nervous just because, you know, if you lose, you're done. But it was super exciting, and just being able, they hang up like NCAA volleyball banners inside our gym, and it's a pretty big deal, so it's just fun to compete with your team in those moments.
Yeah, I was super excited to be able to go on the floor and compete with my team. So.
Dave, I'm curious, the two new rule changes, the two bro and the double touch, your perspective, your thoughts on those?
Well, the two libero situation is one I haven't got figured out yet. Okay, I don't understand why we're doing it, for one thing. But we'll see how that works. I don't know we'll utilize that a whole lot. That's not in my plan to do that. There are some things we might be able to do to incorporate a really good server into that. So we certainly have given thought to it. I just don't know how it will actually play out. I've always been in favor of eliminating the inconsistency that we get, and that there's nothing, not bad-mouthing officials. It's impossible for you and me to see and determine the same call on a double hit violation. Nobody gains anything if the setter double hits the ball. It's not going to be a good set. It's like football quarterback throwing a ball and it wobbles out of his hand. They're not throwing a flag up in the air, okay, and stop and play. One of the things that the people that love volleyball like the most is rallies. Let the game continue to play out. And I think this will help that and allow officials to take the whistle out of their mouth a little bit more often, which I think is a good thing.
Dave, Lourdes, Chloe, thanks so much. We appreciate you being here. Good luck this season.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Well, he's got a big match this afternoon against Poland, so we're pleased to be joined by assistant coach Amir Lugo-Rodriguez. To his right, Anna Dodson, a graduate student middle blocker and three-time All Pac-12 10 team honoree. She hit 374 last season. And to her right, Audrey Pack, graduate student and setter, who took over those duties midway through last season and over the last 10 led her team to a 7-3 record. So we'll let you have an opening statement, Coach.
Well, first off, thanks everyone for being here. We're thrilled to participate in Big Ten Media Days. I know Alfie really wishes he could be here, but he's got to handle some business against Poland right now, and he just wanted me to communicate how thrilled he is to be bringing the UCLA brand of volleyball to the best conference in the country. We're really excited to compete. We're excited to show everyone what we've got this year. We have big postseason aspirations, and we're thrilled to be here with Anna and Audrey, who are two great leaders for our team, and let them talk about volleyball with me up here as well.
So just a reminder to those here, please state your name and affiliation when asking a question, and we'll open it up. Alana, you can start.
Good morning. My name's Alana. I'm with 5 Wins. August 2nd hits. Is it business as usual? Is there a certain energy in the air as you're officially Big Ten members?
I think we're just really excited to be here, for everything that's going to happen, and we're just ready to attack it.
Yeah, I think this summer we put in a lot of work, and at the forefront of our mind has been how are we going to show up this year, and who do we want to be, and what's our image and what's our goals. And I think this conference is going to be a great opportunity for us to showcase that.
Hi, I'm Kai with the Daily Bruin. Your first Big Ten game is in Lincoln, and I was wondering, for the players, is that something you're actively thinking or preparing for, or do you take a more one game at a time approach and just worrying about the next opponent? And then for Coach, having coached both in the Big Ten and the Pac-12, is there a discernible difference between style of play or competition or atmosphere between the two conferences?
Yeah, I think we really emphasize treating each team the same. Each is an opportunity to show our style of volleyball, and so I think Nebraska is a great opponent, and I think we're really looking forward to playing there, especially with our first Big Ten game. But truly, I think we take every game and treat it the same.
I think obviously the competition in the Big Ten speaks for itself. Venue-wise, we're excited for our players to play in more kind of like sold-out arenas. It's kind of like the vision that when you are, you know, a young athlete, that you picture yourself, right, playing at Nebraska, Purdue gets packed, you know, Wisconsin, so on and so forth. And so I think that environment creates a really cool experience for our student athletes. And like I said, we're excited to, you know, walk into those places and compete and show everyone what UCLA volleyball is all about.
Anna, you kind of followed the path of Desiree. Did you talk to her during the transfer process? Is it like a Northwestern UCLA pipeline now? What did you learn from her, and what made you want to end up at UCLA?
Yeah, Desiree and I are very close friends. I'm so grateful that she was able to come to UCLA for her last season. We've definitely talked about Northwestern and just the Big Ten conference overall and how pivotal it has been for volleyball. And being able to be a part of that and represent UCLA is just truly an honor. And I think that it's something that we're really preparing for as well. You know, it's going to be a competitive environment, and we're taking the steps we need to in order to show up as our best and attack.
Aaron Ferguson, Wisconsin State Journal for Audrey and Anna. It is not even 8 a.m. on the West Coast yet. Just what is it like getting acclimated, and how can you use this or prepare for this when you're traveling east to play in the Big Ten?
It hasn't been too bad. I think we're running on a lot of adrenaline and excitement, which I think will probably be how it is on the road. I think we're just going to have a lot of gratitude for having such cool opportunities like this that like we might feel a little bit tired, but then I think the excitement overcomes that.
Yeah, and I think another thing that we're really emphasizing right now is to front load our preparation and front load what is to come. Obviously, the travel, it's not going to be as grueling. We're truly excited just because it's an opportunity for us to build our culture even more, spend more time with teammates. But truly, I think we're doing a great job of front loading and just getting ready to adapt and adjust to whatever adversity we have to face.
Thank you. Anna, you almost left UCLA at one point, and now you're here for your 5th season. What keeps bringing you back to the program?
Yeah, going into my 6th year, it is simple. Alfie Ruft and this amazing coaching staff, Amir as well. It has been such an honor to be at UCLA for these 6 years. We're going on 6 years, and I truly wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the state. I think we do have the best coaching staff in the nation. I think we are working our butts off every day, and I think we are going to make a big statement, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And I think there are so many other great programs out there, but this was the best for me, and I'm just lucky to have another year.
Amir, morning. I'm Chris at Fox Chicago. Was just kind of curious. One of the themes we heard earlier is that there's an unknown with a lot of the teams from the West coming into the Big Ten, and just kind of curious if you could explain what do you, as UCLA, bring to the Big Ten, and what kind of identity do you have as a volleyball team?
Yeah, I mean, I think we want to be creative. We want to be dynamic. A great word Alfie uses is fierce. And so I think that you watch our style of play, and we play for arguably one of the best coaches in the world. And so what we get is like a little international flair with how we're going to play. You'll see the back row attack utilized more, different routes out of the middles, our pins being creative, Audrey attacking the block in different ways. So I think you'll see a very complete product in terms of the game of volleyball, and I think that's what we're like really priding ourselves on this year is we're training the game. We're just not training like pieces to fit into like a puzzle and it's like a one-size-fits-all.
We'll go to the right, and then we'll come back here to the left and front.
So Anna and Audrey, I believe you're both part of the 2021 team that was the last UCLA team to make the NCAA tournament. Coming back as graduate students, what do you think this team needs to accomplish or build on in order to make it back to that tournament?
I think that's definitely one of our main goals, but kind of like Anna answered earlier, we like to view one game at a time, so I would say the first step is just attacking our preseason because we have a really good schedule playing good teams like Georgia Tech and Tennessee, so seeing how we can do there and what we can learn from that, and then building off of that as we move into conference.
Coach and student athletes, we have some students from Brunson Academy here in Chicago, 7th and 8th graders who are aspiring journalists. They'd like to ask you a few questions as well.
Hi, my name is Duke Murray. I'm from Browser Elementary School. What other sport have you been doing since you've been growing up?
Hi, Duke. Thanks for coming. I have done a lot of sports. I've done taekwondo, I've done tennis, I've done basketball. I've done pretty much every sport known to man, but volleyball ended up being my passion and my deep love and desire.
Yeah, pretty similar. I really liked soccer. I did tennis and golf also, but I just ended up liking volleyball the best out of all of them.
Anna, just a quick follow. Does Taekwondo help you in volleyball at all?
You know, I have not seen the benefits of it yet, but we'll see. Maybe this year I'll bust out a move or two. Just kidding.
Hi, Jason Weston from Brunson Elementary. My question for the players is, did you guys grow up always playing the same position? If not, like, what did y'all suspect that y'all were going to be able to play growing up?
That's a really good question. When I was 12, I played right side, but I also set, and I'm a setter right now. And I think it was clear pretty early that I couldn't have a great career as a hitter, as fun as it is, so I just ended up sticking to setting.
Yeah, and I have pretty much been a middle my whole life. I dabbled in outside and oppo in high school, but mainly middle just because of my height.
My name is Serena Scott from Milton Brunson Elementary. Have you ever thought about quitting?
About quitting? No. I haven't. I think, you know, when you're surrounded by people who love the sport and are also great humans, it makes what you do so much more enjoyable and so much more fun. And I have never, you know, it gets taxing and grueling and you get tired, of course, but it's those people that you're surrounded by every day that truly make you want to be your best and give 100% of what you have every day.
Yeah, I would say there's definitely been a lot of challenges and times when it's really hard, but I've never fully contemplated quitting. And like Anna said, just the people around you and everyone has a different why and motivation, but leaning on that when it gets hard is really important.
Lincoln Arneal, Huskers Illustrated. Amir, y'all were very close to making the tournament last year, but I think you finished 3-7 at home, and some losses I imagine you'd like to have back. Have you thought about how to improve that performance at home and kind of maybe mess up the routine or change things around? Have you addressed that going into the year two?
So going into this year, we're really prepped on, I think, embracing kind of like the moment, being better with like kind of like our feet in the ground, going into like a lot of those home matches. Hopefully that we're gonna learn from kind of like last year. We're gonna be able to like adjust to some things, and I think that the competition in the Big Ten it's only gonna get better, you know, from last year, and every year this conference continues to kind of like rise, new teams emerge. So for right now, we're just excited to compete against every team, and hopefully the end product will be kind of like how we trained all the summer, how we trained kind of like leading into the preseason, and good things will happen.
Reminder to those online, you can submit your question in the chat on Zoom, and we'll certainly read those here in the room.
I'm Serena Scott from Milton Brunson again. what do you and your teammates have in common besides playing volleyball?
I'd say a lot of different things. We all like to hang out, go to the beach. We like to shop. Yeah, we just like doing different fun activities in our off time.
I think that's what's great about volleyball as well is we are brought to the same school for volleyball and academics, but it's so great to get to know everybody and what everybody has in terms of their own personal hobbies and traits and characteristics. And I think everybody brings such a unique, passion outside of volleyball. And so it's great to have such diversity on our team.
Going back to the question about training in different positions or practicing, has those experiences, even at the high school level, impacted how you play your position group now, or does it feel very far removed at this point?
I think it makes a difference. Personally, for me, even though I was pretty young, being able to be a hitter, I think just helped with understanding how the offense works and has helped me with setting, and then also has just helped encourage me to be aggressive with dumping and blocking at the net, which are things that I really enjoy.
Yeah, I think having variety in your game, especially when you're young, is super important. I was lucky to be coached by Jim Stone, who does not believe in training, middles only as middles. So I was, in practice 2 hours before, getting defense reps, getting serve receive, and doing things that normal training for middles didn't consist of. And it definitely has reaped its benefits now, and I'm very lucky to have that. And it's just given me different vision and perspective, and as well as I can try to understand and relate what other positions are going through on the court.
To the players, is there a venue that you most like to play in away, and is there a venue that you're most looking forward to that you have not played in the Big Ten Conference?
I would say I enjoy playing at SC just because in LA there's a lot of volleyball fans that come out, and so it's really cool to see everyone coming out for the rivalry to watch, and it is just really exciting. And I'm excited for our conference opener at Nebraska just to put to test everything we learned in our preseason, and also just to see the volleyball culture there that they're really known for.
Yeah, I'm excited to play in Purdue. I'm excited to have a lot of the Big Ten teams come to us, which is going to be super exciting just to have everybody in Poly and get a different fan base coming and pack Poly more than just SC, so I'm excited.
Okay, I think that's it. Amir, Anna, Audrey, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Best of luck this season.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Brad Keller, in his 5th season, has led the Trojans to back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances. To his right is Allie Batenhorst, outside hitter and transfer from Nebraska, who was 4th on the team last year in kills per set. And Mia Tuaniga, the senior setter, a 2-time Pac-12 all-conference performer who gave an impassioned speech last night at our reception. It was outstanding. Mia, fantastic job. Coach, we'll let you have an opening statement.
We are very, very grateful to be here, and this has been a little overwhelming in a positive way. So I want to say thank you to the Big Ten and for just the hospitality here, how you guys have treated us. This movement over has been seamless, and we're just honestly excited to be here, and we'll try to do our best to answer questions, but there's going to be a lot of unknowns for us, as you probably are aware, but we will do our best. So away we go.
So just a reminder, please state your name and affiliation when you ask a question, and to those of you here, just remember to speak into the mic. So thank you. And we'll begin up front with Aaron.
Hi guys, Aaron Ferguson, Wisconsin State Journal. Welcome to the Big Ten. Allie, welcome back. Mia, really for you, what brand of volleyball is the Big Ten getting in USC, and also the 3 other schools that are coming from the Pac-12?
Sorry, can you repeat
Just
that
like
one more
what
time?
kind of brand of volleyball do you guys bring to the Big Ten? Like what can Big Ten teams expect from USC, and then what also from the other 3 schools that are joining?
I think what a lot of the new schools that are coming in, we're just going to bring some West Coast swag. So yeah, that's what I'm excited about. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about Big Ten, but I'm just excited to come in and be ourselves and bring that West Coast.
Brent from the Lincoln Journal-Star. Mia, what was it like to be asked to speak to all the players and coaches and Big Ten officials, and what was kind of your message to, the players in the league and coaches?
Man, it was such a huge blessing. I mean, I just want to give all the glory to God for, my story isn't just mine, it's His. And a lot of the time when I'm playing, people ask me, how do I do it? How do I do this? And truly, when I'm on the court, I pray that He just shines through me. And my message last night was just sharing my story, and where I'm coming from. And I think everyone was showing just great hospitality last night. And I just want to thank all of you guys for, being so kind to us. And it's truly a blessing to be here. So thank you.
Lincoln Arnale, Huskers Illustrated Alley. Welcome back to the Big Ten. It's been gone for months. What have you kind of told the teammates about the Big Ten, and how has the move to LA gone?
It's been great. I mean, the girls are super welcoming, and the staff is welcoming, and I guess the transition has been really smooth, so that's been amazing. I would say Big Ten is obviously most competitive conference for volleyball, and I think I've experienced a lot of big matches in front of big crowds, and it's just high-level volleyball, and it's a different style of play than it is on the West Coast, and I think I'm still learning West Coast style of volleyball, which is so fun. And I think just to expect big games, every match is going to be super hard, and I think we're really, really excited to kind of come into the Big Ten, and not a lot of people are going to really know what to expect from our team, and I think that's something we're really excited about because we're playing kind of a different style, and I think we have a really good group this year, and we're going to come out with a bang. So.
Brad, you said this was overwhelming. What are today, and then thinking about the Big Ten, what's overwhelming about this and thinking about the Big Ten going forward?
You guys. I hate talking in front of people, which is weird because I'm a coach. It's a weird thing. But no, I think it's overwhelming in a positive way, meaning the level of professionalism and how much you all care about this sport. This is a passion of ours. I'm a coach. This is my life. And so to see it being brought up this way or presented this way or cared about this way means the world. And I can't put into words just yet. I need to process that a little bit more. But that's, I think, is what I was trying to get at when I said that. And by the way, we didn't really answer your question, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. We're going to play a lot faster, a lot more creative. We're going to throw the ball around. We're going to do a lot of the things that you see the national teams doing, because I believe that we need to play a style of volleyball that international is what it's presenting, and I think we are seeing that right now through the Olympics. And so if you want to be the very best, you have to kind of mimic or copy or train in that sort of a style, setting, what have you. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing. I'm sure we're not the only team doing that, but that's what we're going to be bringing. I'm just warming up.
You're doing great. Alana Goldman, 5 wins. I wanted to ask, since SC is such a brand name and really, really prominent, especially in women's basketball, women's beach, are you feeling that momentum, and how are you taking that to, continue to grow women's indoor volleyball?
That was to me.
In general, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I think this past year, USC has really grown a lot. Women's basketball, like you mentioned, I mean, Juju Watkins is doing things that nobody else is doing, you know what I'm saying? So, walking the same halls as our women's basketball team, our men's basketball team, and, there's so many other athletes that are really raising the standard, and, we're constantly trying to strive for greatness, and I think that's the thing that, when we talk about USC branding, it's, that standard.
Yeah, like when you think of USC, you think of just greatness, and there's so much respect towards the school, and internationally, everyone knows what USC is about, and I think that's something that's really special and unique. I also think, like I kind of said earlier, there's a lot of Olympians that, like most Olympians are from USC, and that kind of says a lot about our program, and I'm just super grateful to be a part of it.
Coach, student athletes, we have some students from Brunson Academy here in Chicago, 7th and 8th graders who are dipping their toe in journalism. They'd like to ask you a few questions.
I'm Lonnie Jackson from Milton Nebraska, and I got a question for the players. What is one thing you need to improve in the gym, and how will you do it?
I think we're always improving. I think just every part of our game, and I think at USC, like we kind of said, West Coast style of volleyball, there's a lot of room for creativity and just freedom to try new things, and I think the staff does a really great job of allowing us that space to kind of grow and work through things, and that's something I really appreciate. And I think obviously it's still a new program for me, and I think I'm still trying to get used to everything and kind of get to know the girls, and I think we're a really cohesive group though, so it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think it's not only improving, but how much can we learn from each other, how much can we learn from our coaches, so just really amping up our IQ and just how much can we learn in one day, you know? Keep striving for that.
Brad, Allie's only been with you a fairly short time officially. Why did you choose to have her represent you here this week?
Have you met her? Yeah.
I have.
So part of what I do is I'm big on personalities, and I'm big on recruiting big dreamers. So I said this in the other interview, one of my favorite quotes is, imagination is more powerful than knowledge, knowledge is limited. And why that means something to me is I want people that are willing to go for it all and have a big appetite. You know, they dream, they are not afraid, they are go-getters. And you saw that last night in Mia's speech. If you were there for last night's speech, you know that she is her. I keep saying that she is her, but she is not afraid, and she's going to go for it all. And Allie's the same way. And Allie's been there and done that, right? She's been to 2 national championships. She's gone through the wars to get to the highest level. She walks into a room, and you guys immediately notice her, and she doesn't have to say anything, and she's magnetic. And so she draws people to her. So of course I'm going to have those types of people up here talking to all of you, because I want you to get a good visual of what my program is. And this is exactly the representation I want. So it was a really easy choice for me when it comes to having her. And listen, she's not the only, I have 18 young women that are fantastic that could do a great job here. I just felt it was these 2 young ladies' turn. It was our first time here. I think we have to hit it off with a bang. I think we have to look at you all and say, this is exactly who we are.
My name is Brandy Foltz, and my question is, how has playing volleyball contribute to your personal development?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Girl, that's a good question.
Volleyball has, contributed to every part of my life. I think I've met almost all of my friends through volleyball. My family has just grown so much, and like my whole family plays volleyball. And I think there's a lot of life lessons that come out of sports in general, and just overcoming adversity, and there's different challenges thrown your way, and playing under pressure. Like going into the workforce, you're going to be under pressure, and you're going to be surrounded by different personalities, and you just kind of have to learn and understand people around you, and just grow as a person, and just, I think overall volleyball has just contributed so much to my life.
Yeah, I mean, I think she worded it perfectly. I mentioned it a little bit last night too, is, you know, God showed his faithfulness to my family through the sport, and I've just received so many blessings being able to grow up playing volleyball, and I'm so just so blessed to be able to be here with you guys and really share that personal development that you talk about.
How old are you guys again?
Yeah, y'all are killing it. Hey, y'all are killing it.
You are killing it.
Brad, when you think over the last 2 years in recruiting and transfer recruiting, how has the fact that you're going to be in the Big Ten, how has that come up in those conversations, and what that's going to mean for recruits and transfer recruits?
So is that the question more, has it helped us a little bit?
Just what's the impact?
Yeah, impact. I can go a couple different ways with this. It's just, again, the physicality of the Big Ten, you have to recruit towards that. So it's changed my way of how I'm recruiting a little bit or who I'm going after. I've always been someone that been going after a lot of maybe some smaller players, but are really quick twitch, fast, explosive, and then I've now kind of mixed and blended it with more physical, bigger volleyball players as well. So there's a little bit of change there. As far as I think your direct question would be, I don't think it's changed a whole lot. It's still the same thing. I still know what the product that I want to put on the court looks like. And so I just recruit kids to what that vision is. Did I answer that right for you? Okay.
This is maybe, oh, go ahead, Lincoln, you can go first. Yep, and I'll follow you up.
Allie, you're reunited with Tyler Hillebrand again. Sorry. What do you like about coaching from him? And did you help sell? I think you announced publicly you were going to USC first before him. Did you kind of seal the deal and said, come on back?
So yeah, I actually had no clue he was going to come to SC. So that I lucked out for sure. Obviously, my freshman year at Nebraska, he was my coach, and he's just the same person he's always been. He's so passionate about what he does, and he's just so encouraging. And really, I think something that's really special about him is he instills belief in his players, and I think that's something the whole staff at USC does a really good job at. And I think those are the best coaches, are the people who believe in you and just give you a lot of encouragement and let you grow and just give you that space to grow. And I think I'm just super, super grateful to have just such a great coaching staff.
So, Brad, what does Tyler bring to the team? Does he help you in the transition to the Big Ten? And then I assume you're going to be working with him with setters. Talk about, has he had an impact already? So, Brad, we'll start with you.
Well, I want to be, all three of my coaches are elite. Elite. And the only way I learned this a long time is when you are in charge, you better hire people that are better than you. And you have to be really okay with that. And I am completely fine with it. Let me go through it real quick, and I'll get to Tyler. But Megan Moyanoa is, I call her Mama Hen. She's the one that, she has the pulse of the team. She understands this group inside out. She's tough in a great way. She's actually maybe the most passionate out of all of us, even though she doesn't really show it. And she is kind of the epitome of how I want a strong female role model around my kids, and she is exactly that. Spencer McLaughlin comes from a famous family. He's a big-time volleyball player, big-time coach, a lot of energy. He's very similar to Tyler. They're just they're very passionate about the game, and that's what you're seeing, is that they're just unapologetically them. I do say this, they don't like it, but have you guys ever seen the movie Step Brothers? Do you know, I'm actually serious here. Do you know the scene where they looked at each other and said, did we just become best friends? That scene, that's Tyler and Spencer. And it's a comedy show between the two of them. But they're just very, very passionate. I think to answer your question, what Tyler brings, though, is he brings a head coaching experience, so it allows me to branch off and do more of what I need to do. And so there's a little bit of relief there for me. And so I have three coaches where I just can turn them loose. Here's the idea, and you guys go get it done, and we'll meet in a couple days, and I give them full autonomy for that. And I want to do that. So, and they're all professionals. That's the thing, is if you're a professional, you're going to get your stuff done, and it's going to be good. And so that's what he's done. He's brought us up another peg that's already complemented what we had. But Step Brothers. But Step Brothers.
Yeah, that's the vital information right there. Step Brothers. What's it called? Just going off of what Brad was saying, all of our coaches, they bring so much to the table, and they're so inspiring. And it's not only what they're teaching us volleyball-wise, we learn so much just through their story. And, just to talk a little bit more about Megan Moyanoa, she's from Long Beach. She's Samoan too, so me and Adanya call her Auntie Megan. She hates it, but that's just the relationship that she's really grown to have with every single one of us. She's truly, someone that we all look up to and someone that we all just branch off of. Like he said, she doesn't share it a whole lot, but she's intense, and she wants to win. And that's something that, it's contagious. But going off of Tyler, I've known him for a very long time. He's coached one of my older brothers, and I think I've known him since I was like 5 years old. And you know, just seeing him in the gym, it's like seeing another family member in the gym, and he's just brought a lot of IQ and just brought a lot of leadership things, and I've actually learned so much from him this past spring, and it's truly a blessing that he's decided to come and work with us. So yeah.
Mia and Allie, I hated 8 a.m. classes, and it's 8:30 back in LA right now. What is the time adjustment just been like on this trip, and how can you kind of prepare for that when you're coming to the Midwest and the East Coast to play volleyball?
I think, obviously, like Brad usually says, we don't know what we don't know. So this little trip that we had, it was a little tough and everything, but I think we did a really good job trying to hype each other up. Yeah, we woke up this morning, we're like, dang, but let's get it. You know what I mean? Yeah, got some coffee, played some music, and, you know, we're hyped to be here. So whatever time it is, whatever tough travel day, like, comes at us, we're going to be here to show each other support and keep each other hyped.
Yeah, we're definitely able to adapt, and I think just going down to the basics, just going to bed early, being smart, planning ahead. I don't think it'll be a big struggle for us, and I think it's kind of nice, at least when we do go to Rutgers, we gain time coming back, so that's pretty nice. But it's not going to be a problem.
Mia, what are your thoughts on the double contact rule change, and how do you think that'll affect things?
I'm not the biggest fan of that new rule. Personally, I think there are certain plays in a game where if a setter goes and she doesn't double, like, that's showing how much time she puts into her craft. And I'm not saying that people don't put time in it or people do, but it's like, if we're going to change the double rule and let double slide, what else are we going to let slide? You know what I mean? Like, what rule is going to come next that's going to let us, okay, well, we can do this too. You know what I mean? And I'm not the biggest fan of it, and it's not going to change the way I train, but, I mean, rules are rules, right?
We have time for one more, so Steve.
Just for all of, Steve McGargy, Associated Press, just for all of you, I'm just wondering, with the move to the Big Ten by yourselves and a few other schools, you're not getting as many West Coast rivalries as you've had in the past, but you are going to be playing at Nebraska, at Wisconsin with those huge crowds they have. How do you think this move will impact just fan interest along the West Coast in the sport?
I think I'm really excited. I think we're going to gain a lot of fans, you know, the style of play that we're going to bring. I think a lot of people are going to be just a little shocked and a little intrigued about the stuff that we're going to bring. So I think we're going to gain a lot of fans. We might gain some haters, but that's cool too. But, you know, the coverage that you guys bring to the Big Ten is amazing, and I'm excited for that. I think when we talk about women's sports, you know, a vital thing we talk about is lack of coverage, and just being here and seeing how much you guys pour into the student athletes, I'm really excited about that, so thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered it all. I think the fan base in California is definitely growing, and I think USC's is growing a lot from what I've heard. And I think obviously in the Big Ten, there's huge fan bases, tons of people there, and there's always just tons of coverage now, and that's been amazing and a blessing. And I think just having that on the West Coast and just having more opportunities to play in front of those fan bases, viewership, all that, I think it'll be really amazing for our program. And yeah, West Coast.
I think the last part is USC itself is a worldwide, is a global brand. Like, you could go to Australia and wear an SC shirt and someone's going to know what that is. And to be able to now be a program that goes and travels to some of these spaces that don't really know us, I think is only going to help. It's going to help volleyball. I think it's going to help us. I think it's going to help viewership. I just think it's a net positive all the way through is what I would say.
Brad, Allie, Mia, welcome to the Big Ten. Thanks very much for your time. Have a great season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
13 last year. Keegan Cook in his second season. 8 seasons prior to that at Washington. Qualified for the NCAA tournament in his first year at Minnesota. The student athletes to his right is Lydia Grote, senior outside All-Big Ten last season. Also played at Cal. And McKenna Wucherer, a junior outside hitter who led the Gophers last year with 3.24 kills per set. Keegan, we'll let you have an opening statement.
Great. Yeah, gratitude first. I think my colleagues have done a good job of thanking everybody here for spending time, but we're here on day 2, so the stamina is coming into play. I think this group's got it, but Big Ten leading the way as usual with this event. Thanks for having us back. Welcome to the 4 new member institutions to the Big Ten. Get excited for them, and I'm excited for our athletes to compete on an even bigger stage. Yeah, we're 18 months into this with this group. You've heard me say people values volleyball in that order, and these are my people. Really excited to share time with these guys. Excited for the players that we've recruited. We've added a new member to the team almost one every 6 weeks, and so it's a lot of work. And this group has put in the work this spring. I think you're going to see a new type of urgency, new type of energy, and a new type of effort, one that we can be proud of. So we're a little bit of a mystery, which is, I think, how we like it, and I'm just looking forward to getting in the gym with them on Saturday.
We'll open it up to the questions, and just a reminder, name and affiliation, please.
Alana Goldman, 5 wins. Your team at times struggled a bit offensively last year. What steps are you taking to get back on track and go back to the Minnesota offense that I think fans are familiar with?
That's a great, tough opening question. Can I start, and then you guys can jump in? Thanks, Alana, for that. Right at us. That's going to be the tone today. Okay. Yeah, I think we thought side out was a space that we could be better. I think we sided out somewhere around 56%. You need to be in the 60s. Defensively, we did a pretty nice job. Met a pretty high standard. 4th in aces. Pretty high up in blocks as well. So I'm pretty confident in those skills. This spring has mostly been spent on receiving and middle offense. Those 2 areas, I think, you're going to see some growth right away, as well as the range of our outside hitters, the decision-making of our outside hitters on tough sets. These 2 are probably nodding from all the trauma this spring. But just, they're ready. They've done the work. They had a great spring, great Europe trip, only lost 1 match the entire time. And they're allowing themselves to be coached and to grow, and so that's how I see it, but I'd love to hear their perspective on it.
Yeah, I think, last fall we had some new additions to the team, and I think this spring has been really, really great for us in getting to know each other and working together on the court, and I think we've built some really great relationships on the court.
Yeah, I'm going to shout out our depth. I mean, we brought in a lot of transfer outside hitters and pins, and I think they've done a really good job of just stepping in and getting to learn our offense, and also shout out our middles for coming into practice every day and being open to learning new sets and learning how to run a slide, and that's going to really help us spread out our offense this year.
Steve here in the middle.
Steve McGarvey from the Associated Press. I was wondering for each of you or all of you, just there's been so much talk about the growth of this sport over the last few years. Just wondering for each of you, why do you think the sport has grown so much in popularity, and how would you like to see college volleyball kind of capitalize on it? Where would you like to see this sport maybe 5 years from now?
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, big question in a big important time. I think volleyball's had the collective support of the conferences, of the Coaches Association, of the NCAA, some big entities really recognizing the value of the sport and the ability of these teams. And a lot of work behind the scenes, a lot of committees, a lot of pushing for rule changes. Being flexible, I think, is probably the most important thing for the next 5 to 10 years. As we can see in college sports, if you're not flexible, it's going to be tough. Things are changing quickly, and you have to be okay with it. You have to transition quickly. I'm pretty confident in Minnesota, in the Big Ten, and even in the NCAA for the work that they're doing right now to make the situation better for volleyball.
Yeah, I think the sport has been growing because it's a team sport, which I think helps. You have as many people on the court at one time as possible. And then I think they're just such great people leading positions of volleyball growth. And I think, we watch the USA national team, and they're such great role models to everyone out there. So I think that's just been huge in getting more people to play the sport.
Yeah, I think volleyball is growing a lot because it's really hard. It's really easy to pick up on, and you might not have to know the sport at all, and you can watch it, and you can realize how intense and exciting it gets when someone scores a point. But obviously, a lot of teams have been doing a lot to promote the sport. Like, we're playing in the volleyball showcase first weekend at Fiserv Forum, the Bucks Arena, 15,000 fans. which is so exciting, but also you see Wisconsin playing at the Kohl Center and Purdue playing at the Mackey Center. I think those opportunities for us athletes are incredible, and just being in that atmosphere and seeing those fans celebrate for our sport is super exciting.
Lincoln O'Neill, Huskers Illustrated. Keegan, you mentioned kind of the uncertainties coming down. One of those is the House settlement. How do you see that impacting the sport? Are you having conversations with the administration to prepare for roster limits, for increased scholarships, paying players? Are you part of those conversations yet?
Yeah, certainly in-house. I think Minnesota's done a nice job of giving us the updates that they can. But the work was done kind of a long time ago at Minnesota and a lot of Big Ten institutions, the way they've chosen to support women's volleyball. So do I know exactly how it's going to work out? No, of course not. But I'm pretty confident in our leadership that volleyball is going to be in a position of growth and not in a position where things are more difficult. There's going to be more opportunities for the athletes. There's going to be more revenue. I have got a lot of faith in our leadership, and I think most big institutions should feel that way. Yeah, again, if you want certainty, you're in the wrong business here. But if you want growth and opportunity, then hang in there, because it's coming, I think.
Aaron Ferguson, Wisconsin State Journal. Keegan, congratulations on your gold medal. You've had a chance to coach at the USA level with the under-19s, and there's a lot of Big Ten representation, both in recruits, but also at the under-23 level and at the Olympic level in Paris. Just how does that kind of help grow the talent level of the Big Ten, and how do you use that as either a recruiting pitch or developing it into your program?
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. It's a fun time right now. I think USA is almost up 2-0 on Poland. It's going great right now on that front. You want to be part of things bigger than yourself, and I think that's what USL volleyball has always represented to me. You want to give back to the game. That's what it's always meant to me. And I always think about what our athletes are doing in the summer. They're pushing themselves. They're away from their families. They could be home resting, but they're still pushing. And so for me, the USA program has been that. I'm still pushing. I'm away from my family. I'm working to better myself for them. The Big Ten is leading in that space. The players that want to play at the highest level are finding themselves in the Big Ten, within the USA program at all levels. And again, it's a lot of collective work, on the athlete's part, on the coach's part. And McKenna's been a part of that program. Lydia can be a part of that program. And maybe I think, McKenna, you can probably speak to what it's been since you were there this summer.
Yeah, I mean, this summer was insane, honestly, just to be a part of the collegiate national team with USA. But for me, just putting on the red, white, and blue is an honor like no other, and competing with some of the best athletes in the country. And this year I was fortunate to be with a lot of the girls older than me that I've never played with before. I think in the past I've played for U18, U20, U21, but just being with the same team that whole time. So now like branching out and playing with other collegiate athletes who are better than me and pushing me to be better is just an amazing experience.
She's back. Here we go again. This better be a good follow-up here.
I'll ask a different type of question. Lydia and McKenna, you both have sisters that played at a high level. I wanted to know if you could share a little bit about how that's impacted you as players and as people.
Yeah, I can go first.
Okay, so my sister played at the University of Washington, and now she's a professional volleyball player. She plays for the Grand Rapids Rise in the PVF. And she is someone that she is so stable, and I can talk to her whenever, and she offers such great insights, and she's had such great experiences in college. And she's someone that pushes me, and she knows really well how to push me, and just she's so competitive, and she inspires me every day to be my best.
Yeah, I have two older sisters. I've the oldest sister, Miranda, played 4 years at Northern Kentucky and then played her fifth at Minnesota, so I actually got to play with her. And then Abby, our middle sister, played at Southern Utah University, so they both played college volleyball. My mom also played throughout high school. And for me, it was more of like a family affair. Like I wanted to follow in my mom's footsteps just because I lost her when I was young. So just being able to represent her on the court was something I really wanted to do. Miranda coaches at Northern Kentucky now. I would say I'm really close with her, and just being able to see how much love she had for the sport was something I really admired, and she's someone who I can go to at any time and ask for volleyball advice. And she's been around our program a lot, so Lydia knows her too, but just being able to have her right by my side through it all has been really cool.
Morning, guys. I'm Chris with Fox in Chicago. Just kind of curious, we heard one of the themes so far is the unknowns. Obviously, with 4 West Coast teams coming into the conference, how do all of you guys approach the unknown? How do you see it? How do you view it? Is it fun? Is it exciting? What are the challenges part of it?
Oh, look at me. Yeah. I think if you don't have your values in place, if you're not sure who you're trying to become, uncertainty is a real dangerous space. You can get lost pretty quickly. And I think it's a big challenge for young people right now. There's not a lot of certainty if you're younger than us. But helping them figure out what their values are individually and collectively is the best thing we can do for them. And once you have those things in place, then I think the uncertain becomes pretty fun. And you know how you're going to show up in those spaces and who you're going to be, and then you're just along for the ride. And so that's been the challenge here for these past 18 months, is getting to know these young people, talking to them about their values individually and collectively, giving them those tools so that when the excitement and the uncertainty and the change happens, that they just crush it. And I think we're closer. We're a lot closer than we were 18 months ago. And yeah, we're a little uncertain, and I'm excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the future's not written in stone. We like to attack these unknowns head on, and we're writing our own future, and we're working hard every day. And how lucky are we to get to play in this great conference that's still expanding and providing so many new opportunities, and to get to play against 4 new schools for the first year. And then for me, this is my last season here. So I'm just really grateful for these new opportunities.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the unknown. Obviously, it can be difficult with 4 new teams joining the conference, but I think it's going to be super cool to, obviously, you only play a lot of teams once, so you have one opportunity to obviously help you in the postseason. So I think that's going to be a huge stepping stone for us, is that we only get to see this team once. I feel like a lot in the past we were like, oh, we lost this one, but like we can go get them again later. Like this time it's like, this is our one time we're going to see them until the tournament. So I think that's huge for us. And also just, obviously the 4 teams coming in are national championship contenders every single year. So just getting off to a hot start, watching lots of film on them, and just understanding how they play the game is going to be a lot different than obviously the Midwest schools. Like a lot of West Coast players, more scrappy, beachy kind of vibe. So I think that'll be super interesting to see what they bring to the table.
Keegan, you got 3 transfers coming in, including 2 native Minnesotans. Didn't play a lot at their previous school. How do you go about evaluating when there's not a lot of game tape, and figuring out if they're a right fit for your team?
Yeah. We've had 6 transfers now total, I think, right? And the first 3 in Lydia and Kylie and Phoebe, you know, you're talking to people that you trust. I try and explain to these athletes that the volleyball world is small. Has everyone who've met you met the same person? And then from there, once you get a little picture, you have to take some risk. But it's not about picking, right? It's about integrating these kids. And so the first time around, man, we hit it really well. And I think this time around, same. You know, again, having some kids from Minnesota helps. There's a little bit of background on them. Spending time in the Northwest where Alex played helped. Knowing, you know, probably called 15 different people about her, you know, it gives you a good picture. And yeah, from what we've seen, whether it was from the foreign trip or from their time here, I think we did it again. I think we found depth. I think we found competition. And I think we're a more well-rounded team than we were last year.
Aaron again from the State Journal. McKenna, where were you when you guys found out that you were going to be coming back to Fiserv Forum, and how excited were you to have a couple of home matches?
I don't even remember when I found out, but I remember, I think EJ told me, and I was literally blown away. I was like, is this even real life? Like, I get to go home? Because never in my 4 years I would have thought that I get to go home and play in my home state of Milwaukee. And we also get to go to Green Bay and Madison. We get the whole Wisconsin tour this year. But I am so happy to be playing at home in front of my family and friends. I mean, my house is literally 15 minutes away from Fiserv. So that's just a really insane experience. And it kind of almost reminds me of like high school. Like I get to go home. And we even got to play Waterloo in spring. So like I feel like I've been on like my whole Wisconsin tour. But no, I'm super excited. And obviously just for the sport of volleyball, there's going to be so many people there. I think like a ticket selling for $1,000 on StubHub. Like just to have that experience and memory throughout my 4 years is going to be something I'm going to remember forever.
Keegan, having competed with and against the 4 new schools in the league, what do you maybe know that other coaches in the Big Ten may not know about those 4 and competing against them?
Yeah, besides the coffee shops to go to and the airports to fly into. Logistics are a big deal, especially in this day and age. You got to know your way around, and so certainly happy to have some familiarity with those 4 institutions. I think they're going to respond. I don't think people ask, oh, are they ready? I don't think they're ready, but they will respond, knowing those institutions. I think ready's a little overrated in this day and age. Can you respond? And those 4 institutions will. But even today, watching them walk around, seeing where I was a year ago, they're going to add a lot of value. And the winners are the players and the communities and the fans. They all win. Coaches are stressed out, but everyone else wins in this. And so I just credit the Big Ten for making it happen.
Coach and student athletes, we have some students from Brunson Academy here in Chicago. They are aspiring journalists and would like to ask you a few questions.
I'm Lonnie Jackson from Nebraska. My question is for you, Coach. I heard that you coached at Washington. My question is, why did you stop coaching at Washington?
Lonnie, finally a professional here at this press conference. The hard-hitting question. Lonnie, it's the hardest thing is to know when to leave, something, especially a team. I had intended to coach at Washington my entire life. I had signed a new contract at Washington. I had players that I loved coaching. But in some sense, I maybe thought I had stopped growing and that I had become a little too comfortable a little bit too soon. And that's not what it's about, for you as a young person or for me as a less young person. We're still growing, and you got to put yourself in spaces that help you grow. And that's what Minnesota felt like to me. And so, yeah, I made the jump, and Washington, I think, is going to be better for it. They've got a tremendous leader in Leslie Gabriel now, who's been leading that program for 20 years. And I know that I'm better for it, and it's worked out for everyone. So a really hard decision, but the right one in the end. Good question, Lonnie. Take notes, you guys. That was great.
My name is Brandy Foltz, and my question is, how do you prepare for games against a strong opponent?
Yeah, I can go. So for me, it's for the team, we do a lot of film. We'll break down each hitter, attacker, and where their tendencies are, where we have to block on them. And also, we see their servers, how we think we're going to see and receive. I think that's a huge part. I'm a huge film person, so I'll go back and watch a lot of their past matches and see how they compete or since I'm an outside, see what the block takes for a lot of these athletes. And then seeing what spots are left open on the court and where I can attack and find different places on the court that are open. So I'm a huge film person, but also you have to get in your visualization and think about how we can do this and see yourself succeeding in that atmosphere is a huge thing for athletes nowadays, and just the mental health aspect side of it. You have to be ready for the big moments. You have to be ready for the big pressure moments. And I think that's something I've gotten a lot better at throughout my career, is just understanding that you're meant to be here and you're meant to perform in these atmospheres.
Yeah, we talk a lot about we can't control the opposing side of the net, but we can control ourselves. And like Coach Keegan said, we can control how we respond. So we do a lot of preparation for that in the weeks coming up to matches. And personally, I like to do a lot of visualization and film review and just focusing on a positive mindset of what I can do and what I can make happen.
We have time for one more. Okay. Lonnie has another one.
Another question for you, Coach. What is something you will do to make sure your team rises on the board?
Lonnie, I missed the very tail end of that question. You asked me one more time. That make sure they do what?
What is something that you will do for your team to make sure they rises on the board on top?
Oh, I got you. That we're growing. Yeah, I think one thing I try and remind them is your good is good enough. You don't have to try and press for great in big moments. Volleyball is played over a lot of points, and I think a lot of players fall into the habit of a great play and then medium play. Can we just be good over long periods of time? And we have enough skill and talent to win those matches if we can stay in that lane. So, good question.
Keegan, Lydia, McKenna, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Best of luck this season.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Who finished last season 29-6. Matt Ulmer, in his 8th season, led the Ducks to a program best 29 wins last season, including an Elite 8 appearance. To his right, Daley McClellan, a junior outside hitter, finished with a career high at 180 digs. And at the end of the stage, Onye Ofoegbu, the senior middle blocker who redshirted last season after transferring from UC Irvine. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Hey!
Nailed it.
Matt, we'll let you have an opening statement.
Well, just thank you for this whole experience, to be a part of the Big Ten, but be a part of the media days yesterday and today. It's just really neat to be a part of, just to see how the sport has grown, to see how much the Big Ten cares about women's volleyball, and now to shine a spotlight on these amazing women. I think it's just really special, and I know we're just really thankful to be a part of it. Thank you to Oregon for giving us the chance, and we're looking forward to this year. It's going to be a year of a lot of firsts, but there's no better group that I'd rather do this with than the group that we have.
We'll open it up to questions, and just a reminder, name and affiliation before the question.
Welcome to the Big Ten. Welcome to Chicago. Alana Goldman of 5 Wins. You're replacing a lot of senior talent that's graduated. So for coach, what's your methodology with the younger players? And for our athletes, how's it been incorporating new teammates?
Yeah, we graduated 7, and all 7 of them got pro contracts. They're all playing pro right now, which, yeah, that's amazing. And I think what that did is it showed the group, how we do things. And if you put your time in and you work hard, and you go through this process, the highs and lows of it, that you're going to be rewarded with generally what they came here with the goal of was to be able to play at the next level. And I think they just really see a path for that. It's tangible for them. And there's a group that was on the other side all last season that was winning a lot of the time. And they're chomping at the bit, ready to go. So I think that group is now ready for their time. I think Daley and Mimi coming back have an expanded role. Onye was over there kicking the other side's butt all last year. Now she's ready to do that to some other teams, which I think is kind of her. But this group is, they're ready to go, and yeah, it's going to be a fun roster.
Yeah, it's been really fun to incorporate the new freshmen and the transfers. I'm just really excited for all of us to mesh together for preseason, and there's a lot of different skill, lots of different personalities. There's good leadership personalities, and we're just really excited to pull that all together for season.
Yeah, I'd say that we get along really, really well, which is going to be key for us this season as we're working together and working on what we need to do to prepare for the season. So it's really exciting to see just everyone meshing well together.
Brett Wagner from the Lincoln Journal-Star. Matt, when you've talked to recruits and chance for recruits, what do you tell them about what being in the Big Ten is going to mean going forward for the program?
Well, I mean, we've really only known this recruiting cycle. Before, we're actually having more and more recruits coming from the Midwest and coming from all over. So I think they were pretty excited with the opportunity to maybe go play in front of their home crowds more. So I think that was just a bonus for them. But no, I think everybody knows it's been the Pac-12 and Big Ten for volleyball for as long as it's been going. And now with this change, it's obviously Big Ten's #1 by a mile in our sport. So, people that come to Oregon, they come to Oregon because they want to compete for championships. They want to have a future in volleyball, beyond the school. They want to get a great education. And they want to see not only our country but the world. And these are things that they're going to be able to do at Oregon, and the Big Ten only enhances that.
Morning, guys. I'm Chris with Fox in Chicago. Matt, you mentioned the season of firsts and so many firsts coming. And for questions for all of you is what firsts are you most looking forward to, and what kind of challenges does that bring?
I think we're just super excited to introduce ourselves. Our whole culture, what we want people to see when they play us. We're just very excited for our first year in Big Ten. And the competition, obviously, is going to be super, super high level. So we're just very excited for our first year, yeah.
I'll say from a volleyball standpoint, anytime, we actually go to Nebraska, we go to Minnesota, we go to these places and we play Wisconsin this past regionals. A lot of the fans, they come back and they'll say, wow, you guys play such a certain way. Generally it's fast or the defense or, just it's a really exciting brand of volleyball. And I'm going to echo Daley. I'm excited for everybody to see how Oregon plays volleyball. And I think it's a little bit different than everybody else. And hopefully it's a show that they appreciate and they like watching.
Yeah, I'd agree. And also just not only is Oregon volleyball a little bit different, but we also have a different team this year. So I'm excited to kind of show the world like what our team is looking like this year.
We have a good group online too with the Zoom meeting, so if there are any questions online, please put those in the chat and we'll ask those here in the room.
Yeah, Matt, Adam Rittenberg with ESPN. Just wondering how much adjusting playing style, you guys going into the Big Ten and them also adjusting to you, how much will kind of take place on both sides?
I mean, I could have told you what all the Pac-12 teams were going to be like when we played them. It's like, so the scouting report didn't really have to differ because I already had it, kind of copy and paste just with different names. And that'll be, throw those out now and learn a bunch of new ways. Again, playing Wisconsin at the end, they play differently than any other team we played. Style of play, slower set, higher above our block, the shots options that they had, just the physicality that they had from all pins. That was something that we had not seen probably since 2018 when we lost to Nebraska to go to the Final Four. And they had Michaela Fecke, among others. So there's definitely some adjustments that are going to be made on the volleyball court. For us, there's some things that they probably don't even understand or that I've even explained to them why we were doing it in the spring from a defensive standpoint, but because I knew we were going to need to be prepared, maybe play some better off-blocker defense deeper against a hard-driven ball, for example, when you're playing Franklin. That we weren't getting from other teams that were playing. So there's going to be different pieces that we're going to have to adjust to, and hopefully I started that in the spring.
Matt, just to follow up on the multiple styles of volleyball you kind of mentioned, when you take both East Coast, West Coast, bring it together, and you have the excitement that Nebraska, a lot of the other Big Ten teams help build in just volleyball across the sport in general, how do you see those two styles of volleyball coming together to help push that momentum further in volleyball, but in college this year?
Yeah, I just think there's a lot of matchups that we don't normally see. Again, I think the Wisconsin fans were really excited to watch Oregon play Wisconsin in the Fieldhouse, in December. I really do. I think they were really looking forward to that matchup, hoping that it would happen. Not that they weren't cheering for Purdue, in the round before, but I think they were excited for that. And again, I think that's where our sport's going, is that people are starting to understand how different styles are and that they would like to see those matchups. And now all of a sudden I think you're going to get some of those fantasy matchups coming in, and we're going to get them regularly. So again, for the sport, for the growth of the sport, I think you're just going to get a lot of really great matchups. I mean, I don't think Nebraska's ever played. I mean, I remember they came to Oregon, but we didn't play them when they came in 2017 or 16, something like that. But Nebraska's not played against us, in Eugene. Our fans are going to get to see that, for the first time, among others, and I think as our sport grows on the West, the Pacific Northwest, they're going to get a treat, to get some of these great matchups.
Coach Aaron from KMTR asks online, for our viewers back in Eugene who may not know the level of volleyball the Big Ten provides, you mentioned it was a mile ahead. Why is it a mile ahead, and what can fans expect from the level of competition this season?
What did I say, a mile ahead of what?
Yeah,
I said that?
I didn't hear you say a mile ahead.
Okay.
I just repeating the question.
Oh.
Maybe what can they expect from the Big Ten style of play?
Yeah, I think the physicality, that I was speaking of. Again, just high level of recruiting, in the conference. And we had, Stanford, would do that, for us in the Pac, where we would see them consistently. But I would say overall, there's multiple teams in this conference now, that really are recruiting, the highest level athletes. So that's something that we're going to, hopefully be able to adjust to, quickly. And again, I just think for us, I think it was really important that we played Wisconsin at the end of last year, because I think it was something that this group needed to be able to see what that really was like, especially in the field house. The crowds are going to be different for us, and our crowd is growing, and we were top 10 in the country last year in attendance, which was a great thing for Oregon volleyball. But going into Nebraska, going into Wisconsin, going to Minnesota. We're not going to Purdue this year, but I'm excited for that one. We have some of these different gyms where the crowds are just really intense and all over us. Hopefully that's something that our group is going to find very exciting, and the fans in Oregon will see that, and hopefully we get a little competitive within our fan base.
Welcome to the Big Ten. Aaron Ferguson, Wisconsin State Journal. As I was watching that regional last year, I was like, this is going to be it going forward. But my question for you, Matt, is with the house settlement and revenue sharing and roster scholarships, how does that kind of change your role at all, if it does, of developing this program and moving it forward with different, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah. I mean, for me, at least, it doesn't do anything for me right now. We'll see where all that goes. And I know we're all patiently waiting, to see what's going to come from all that and how that'll play out in each school. What I really appreciate about Oregon, there's a lot of things, but one of them is how much they appreciate female student athletes and how much they prop up our women. So I know that they will be well taken care of whatever happens. And that the sport of volleyball is growing, is shining bright. So I think things are going to be just fine in Eugene, Oregon moving forward, and that our team is set up really well for the future.
Hey, and a shout out to the Eugene media who have posted the first questions online that we've had in 2 days. So I have another one here for you.
Let's go, Dex.
Yeah, this is excellent. And it just popped up and changed. The question was about, and it flipped down on me. I apologize, Coach. Let me get this real quick.
It's okay.
So the question was, you play in a very unique gym. What are you excited, Matthew Knight Arena? What do you love about that, and what are you excited about showing to the Big Ten Conference your arena and your court?
So we're actually changing our court this year. So I know there's a lot of fans, around the world that are going to be really sad about that. But we're not going to have the trees on the floor anymore for volleyball. We're going to have Terraflex. I tried to get Terraflex to mimic our exact court, but they weren't able to do that quite yet. So maybe in the future we'll get the trees on the Terraflex, but we're not going to have that. So all those streamers out there, I know they're going to be really sad. But we're excited about having Terraflex. The team's excited about it. That's going to be a good thing for us. But I think more so than just the court, it's the environment. And again, our student section is really growing. The pit crew is growing. The excitement level in Eugene for women's volleyball. It's really neat to see this will be my 8th season as head coach, to see the growth there. We broke our season ticket record last year. We've already broken that again this year. Things are really growing. Our student athletes are really being noticed, applauded, and encouraged. And I think the gym environment is loud, and they're not just sitting on their hands. They're engaged, and I think it's an environment that will be really enjoyable for other teams to come in.
Sorry, it's difficult to watch. That lots going on in the court.
I wasn't looking directly at you when I was talking.
I know. I may have silently clapped and they enjoyed that. But Lincoln Arnold, Huskers Illustrated. Coach, the 3 setters on your roster don't have any assists for Oregon. How key will that position battle be for the team, and what have you seen? What are you expecting going into the fall?
We will need that to change to be successful. We're going to need some assists. Chris Klein, redshirted last year behind Hannah Pukas. Hannah was a first-team All-American. But, what an opportunity for Chris to be able to learn from Hannah and to compete against her on the other side. And I think Chris grew more than maybe anybody I've ever coached in this spring. I thought just huge adjustments in her game. And so I think she's ready to go. Again, one of those players that was, just sitting, waiting their time and, waiting for their turn. So I think she's ready to go. Roberta and Evelina, I have not seen in person. So I don't know. We'll see. But they've had a lot of success in their countries. And Robbie, was the junior college national player of the year and 2-time All-American. They won, and I think she's probably the real deal. So I think the battle, between the 3 of them, hopefully will only, elevate the style of play in our gym.
There's been a lot of conversation about travel, especially for U.S. coasters. Besides charter flights, what steps are you taking to stay successful, both in the classroom and mentally, physically as well?
I actually, something that I was nervous about was the schedule, to see what it would look like. And yeah, that's out of our control, right? But I really applaud the conference. I think they were creative, and I think they came up with really nice solutions where we have, home matches during the week, and 4 weeks we have a home match during the week, but then on the weekend we travel. So I actually think we will miss less class this year from what I calculated than we did in the PAC. So, again, appreciate their efforts, knowing that this was an important issue. I think they really took the great lead and made some great choices for us. So I think our student athletes will be just fine and taken care of. But we always have academic support for them and everything that they're doing. And if they ever need anything, all they have to do is ask, as long as it's legal. Yeah.
From Aaron online, KMTR, a question for Daley. Coming in with Mimi, how have you seen her grow since her freshman year, and how has she helped you grow and prepare for your bigger role this year?
So Mimi has grown so much from her freshman year. She wasn't very comfortable serve receiving, and at first she didn't like have a lot of confidence going into her freshman year, but as the years have gone on, I've seen her improve so much with her passing, her defense. It has just been really, really fun to watch. And it's also motivated me as well. And it's been so fun to see that in her, so yeah.
I'll go right back to online then. Question for Onye. Oregon has had the most depth at the middle position over the past seasons. How has the competition at your position, even in practice last season, prepared you for this season? And what are some of the things that you learned from Kara and Carson?
Kara and Carson both just showed me like how important it is to be resilient in your position. It is, I would say, it's a little bit of pressure as a middle blocker to kind of make sure you're like aware of the game. So I learned a lot of that from them, and they showed me that it could be easier if you just take the steps and really work for it. So I'm excited about that.
We probably have time for one more in the room. Coach, I tell you what, we have some students from Brunson Academy in Chicago, 7th and 8th graders, who are aspiring journalists. They'd love to ask you maybe one or two last questions in the next couple of minutes.
All right, bring it, Lonnie. Look.
My name is Lonnie Jackson from Nebraska, and I got a question for you, Coach. I heard that you set a record with 29 wins in 2023. My question is, do you think you will surpass that record this upcoming season?
That's a good question. I think that's a question for them, I think we have a team that can do that, But we never really focus on the wins and losses. We really focus on the process. So every day, and this is a good day for us, they get to hear their voices. They get to start to think about things that they want to bring back to the team. This is a good start for our season. That will give us more chance to be successful and maybe break those records. But when we had those 29 wins, we never talked about it. We just talked about doing our job every day, trying to get better, being the best version of ourselves, and then those things will take care of themselves. Good question. Thank you.
My name is Brandy Foltz, and my question is for Onye. How was the process transferring to Oregon after playing 3 seasons at UC?
I would say the process was pretty quick, or maybe not as quick as some people's, but I would say for me it was easier because I knew Matt already. I met him when I was 11 years old, so I felt pretty comfortable like deciding to move to a different state, especially because I was born and raised in California, so I had lived in California my whole life. And for me, it was a big move to go one state over, so I felt more comfortable like already knowing Matt, and yeah, that factored a lot in my decision.
Matt, Daley, Onye, welcome to the Big Ten, and thanks for spending time with us. Good luck this season.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Well, Nebraska will have 20 minutes here in the media room. I'll also be monitoring the Zoom chat for any questions we receive. And if we feel like a question's been asked and answered, we'll kindly move on from that. So welcome to the podium. The Nebraska Cornhuskers finished the year last year at 33-2. John Cook, the head coach in his 25th season, including a runner-up finish in the NCAA championship match last year. To his right is Lindsay Krause, senior outside hitter, who over her last 6 matches before suffering a season-ending injury was hitting .340. And at the end, Kennedi, senior setter, who played in 29 matches and famously penned the phrase, "Coach, we're going to make the impossible possible." Coach Cook, you want to start with an opening comment?
Oh, did you? I'm sorry. Well, I was still
in
the moment there.
If you'd like to start with an opening comment, sure.
Yeah, I just want to thank the Big Ten. Grace is here. I know she's a big part of this. This is a dream of hers to do these media days. It just gets better every year. Turnout's great. It's an amazing experience for these student athletes to be able to go through all this and be a part of this Big Ten setup here. And so we're just very grateful that we get to be here, and I want to thank the Big Ten for all their effort that goes into this and bringing all these teams together. 18 teams now. It's mind-blowing.
We'll open up for questions, and please state your name and affiliation. Start with Brent.
Brent Wagner from the Lincoln Journal-Star. John, you have 3 players in the Olympics, I guess, as we speak. some of those players you've known 10, 15 years. Just briefly with each of those players, what's gratifying to you about seeing them playing in these Olympics?
Well, this is the third year in a row we've had 3 players out of the 12 on the Olympic team. So it's a great testament and reinforcement for what we're doing at Nebraska to prepare these players to play on what is literally the biggest stage for volleyball in the world. I'm in the tank a little bit because Jordan laid into me last week because I didn't go to Paris. And I'm like, Jordan, I'm the Grand Marshal at the Burwell Rodeo. I cannot go to Paris. So she was a little, she's never ever said, I mean, this is her 4th Olympics. She's never said anything to me about not going. So, but really proud of those guys. And it's, you know, people really don't understand how hard it is to make an Olympic team because it's 12 players that get selected, and it's a very tough process to go through and very competitive. And so we're just, it's a great testament for Nebraska volleyball.
Lincoln Arneal, Huskers Illustrated. John, what is the biggest unknown as they started practice without you, but as you go into your first practices, what's the biggest unknown that you need to solve before your first real match?
You know, what's really on my mind right now is how are we going to better our skills from last year? So how are we going to become a better serving team, better passing team? We broke down in the finals last year. There's other times we broke down. So how are we going to get better in those areas? So that's going to be the focus right now. And then bringing 4 new players into our culture. And every year's team is a little bit different. So how are we going to integrate those guys, and how is that going to work? And but really paying attention to the little things. That's going to be a major focus for me. And so that's where we're going to start. And then also getting them to understand how much competition there's going to be this year. Non-conference, conference. I mean, it is going to be, every match is going to be a very challenging match in different ways. So our schedule's all over the place. We play every night, every day but Monday of the week. The month of November, if you've looked at our schedule, we have 7 road games and 3 home games. That's going to be tough in the month of November. We have some other challenging matches we're working on, and our non-conference is going to be very challenging. So we got to get them to understand what this is about and how tough and challenging it's going to be. But we want that to bring out the best in us. That's going to be the talk.
Hi, I'm Chris with Fox in Chicago. John, real curious, you've been on the other end of realignment back when you went from the Big 12 to the Big 10. What's it like being on the other side of welcoming a team in this time? And for everybody, what are some of the pros and cons you're looking forward to about this upcoming season with such an expanded conference?
Well, the pros, it's making it very interesting bringing 4 new teams in. I think it's going to be great for fans. It's going to be great for the sport. It's great for the Big 10 to, how they're going to coordinate all this, and the media exposure is going to, it's interesting. People are going to be very interested in how this is all going to shake out. The cons are there's going to be a little more travel, but I think the Big 10 did a great job of managing how to do that. But it's going to be more travel for us, but it's also going to be exciting and new for our players to go to new places. And the other con is it's going to be, I don't think anybody's going to go undefeated, let's put it that way. And if they do, they're going to deserve Coach of the Century and Team of the Century, because it's going to be really, really challenging. But like I said, we want to look at that. This is going to bring out the best in what we have, and we'll give it our best shot. But so it's exciting for college sports, and college sports is on the, right now there's more change going on than ever. And and the SEC changed, the Big 12 changed, so there's a lot going on. The ACC changed, so it's going to be an exciting dynamic for college sports.
Lindsay, how do you feel about your career to this point, and what are you hoping from your final season, both individually and as a team?
Yeah, I think I've definitely had a very creative college career, you could say that. I think it's been a little bit all over the place, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's taught me so much about who I am as a person, who I am as a volleyball player, building relationships and everything that comes along with that. So I would say looking forward to this season, just going into every day being so grateful to be where I am and being so appreciative of every single day. And I think that's something that being injured taught me, was how much I love what I'm doing. And though some days it can be monotonous, it can get tiring, I genuinely love it, and I missed it so much when I couldn't do it. So just being very grateful and appreciative of every day that I'm able to do it.
Hi, good morning. Alana Goldman, 5 Wins. Obviously no stadium game this year, but how is this team working on building the game? Is that something you're thinking about? And how is this team's culture in particular helping bring fans into the sport?
I think every day our team just works on what we know we can do for volleyball and Nebraska volleyball as a whole. I think we also just work on culture, and our culture means a lot to us, and I think it shows our commitment to women's sports and volleyball as a whole, in the way that we're more than just volleyball players, we're also people, and we're a team who loves each other and our relationships with each other, and I think that goes to show a lot for what we do.
Coach from online, Abby Harris, Go Big Redcast asks, we've seen the sport grow from viewership, attendance, more domestic professional opportunities. What would you like to see happen to help maintain that positive momentum?
I don't think anything has to happen. I think everything is happening. So it's on a rocket ship right now, and all women's sports. And it's pretty exciting to see, and I have my theories on why that is. I think people are really identifying and want to be a part and connected to women's sports, because these are great young women who are connect and reach out, and they're developing names that they can follow. And I just think with everything going on in men's sports, there's so much movement and all that stuff. So I think women's sports is on fire right now, and I don't think anything it's happening.
John, Adam Rittenberg with ESPN. I'm just wondering how this league, with the new teams coming in, changes or enhances, your preparation to try to win a national championship. The Big Ten's obviously been right there for a number of years, but how does this change it at all?
I don't know if I've figured that out yet. I mean, we've played these teams in the tournament or in non-conference before, so it's adding 4 more great teams. And you're not playing everybody twice. I think there's only 3 teams we play twice. So there's a lot of big matches, because you're only going to play that team once. And so that is going to, I think, create even more of an intensity and pressure to beat that team. And it just raises the level of competition. But we've been seeing the level of competition go up across the board for years now in volleyball, and specifically the Big Ten. There's no easy nights in the Big Ten. And that's something we learned quite a while ago.
Kennedi and Lindsay, you both got your undergraduate degree in May, closing chapter of life. What made you want to come back for one more season, work on a graduate degree, and kind of get one more run through Nebraska?
Yeah, I would say this is home. We've put 3 years into this same program, and kind of just with the experiences we've had together. And for me specifically, it's like, why would I want to go anywhere else? The environment, the team, the fan base, coach, everything. It just seems like everything we have here is, it's beautiful, and we can keep this momentum going forward for women's sports. I think with the platform that we have, as far as all women's athletics can go, even worldwide, it's like we have that responsibility to keep driving that forward. And so it's something that it would just make sense to want to be a part of. And
yeah, I'm just grateful and honored for everything that volleyball has given me. I love the sport, and specifically Nebraska volleyball, the program. Every day I'm excited to get into practice and be with my girls and learn under our coaches. I think that this is such a unique opportunity, and I would never even dream of walking away from it. So I'm just so excited to have every moment of my senior year, and I can't wait for what this season brings.
Let's go to the back corner.
For all you guys, when you bring in UCLA, USC, not only the West Coast, but also with a lot of the schools on the East Coast and in the Midwest too, there's a lot of different play styles of volleyball that are now in this conference. How do you see that help build the momentum around volleyball and kind of push that forward too?
I think we're just going to get to see teams play against each other that we haven't seen a lot. I know growing up, especially like a lot of teams when I was growing up were winning national championships like UCLA, Washington, and now we get to see them integrated in the Big Ten, and I think that's really cool. I haven't gotten to see a lot of Big Ten play like West Coast teams a lot in the past, and I'm just really excited to see the competition. It's going to be an insane year. So.
Yeah, I think it's just a great, I would say, expansion of volleyball. Like Kenna said, that's kind of the way conferences are supposed to work. You just kind of play each other like geographically. But I would say bringing all this kind of, nationwide conference all together, it's gonna be very cool. It's gonna be very special. It's some private schools now mixed in a conference that's mostly state schools. I think that's just gonna be really cool, and just everything together. It'd be awesome.
Kennedi, the reception they had last night at Navy Pier, I think it's a pretty unique thing in college sports right now, where they can bring all those players and coaches together. What did you think of that experience? And then who did you know there from USA, from club, from other experiences?
I thought it was beautiful. I was talking to Coach a little bit on the rooftop, and I was like, I'll probably never get to be on this rooftop again. This is a really cool experience. It was a lot of fun, and I'm just really grateful for the Big Ten for putting it together, because I did get to see so many girls I played USA volleyball with. I got to see Allie, who was obviously on our team last year. Yeah, I think it was just like a little blast from the past. It was awesome.
It's something, especially because when we're all young and we're playing USA together, we're all very close, and then as we get older, we have much busier lives, so it's a little bit hard to always catch up and stay in touch. So it's also just really special seeing all the girls that we got to play with when we were 15, 16 years old, and now what they're all doing at their universities. I think it's something that's really cool to see, very special. So these days where we get to come back and connect, now that we're all 20, 21, 22 years old, it's kind of just we get to catch up and see how our lives have been, because we're all living very different lives, but at the same time we're all living the same life.
Very full circle. Yeah. I would say like our last year of volleyball was our first like competitive team. Yeah.
Lauren Michelson, KETV News Watch 7. For all of you, and Coach Cook, if you'd like to start after last year's loss in the national championship, a lot of you said you never want to feel that way again. How are you using that moment to fuel this team this upcoming season?
Well, anytime you don't play your best, it sticks with you. And it's something we've talked a little bit about. I think it's all in our minds. You guys bring it up, so it's out there. But I framed it for them as the other night is, we should be the most motivated team in the country.
Coach said it best. We're the most motivated team in the country right now. I think we left a lot out on that court, and I think we're all really fired up. I think we're balancing being stuck in the past while at the same time using it to fuel our future. So I think we have found that healthy balance, and I think that's what's really making us all so excited to get back in the gym.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's definitely motivation, number one motivation for our team, but at the same time, we have 4 new players. We have a whole different team this year, and just got to take it game by game and see what we can do with this season.
John, you had players that were playing with different age groups, playing in Canada, playing in the Dominican Republic. Who do you think really benefited from that and took a step forward in their level of play?
Well, I think anytime you do an experience like that, it's completely different than Nebraska volleyball. So they get exposure to, okay, how do we become part of this new team? How do we build relationships with those players? We're together for 3 weeks or whatever it is. So there's an experience that goes with that. The ball's different. The rules are different. You're playing against different teams. So it's all great exposure for that. So all those guys take something out of it. And but did somebody come back different? I saw some things that some of them did that were really cool. And Olivia, even though she didn't make that team, but I saw her stats were really good. And Delaynie was playing great till she got banged up. So I think they all really take something from it. I don't really like it because I want them here in Lincoln, but the dates worked out pretty good this year. And so I think it was a really positive experience for everybody. And I think they really enjoyed it. And some of them got to travel to a couple different countries. And all I heard was how hot it was in Dominican Republic. But you look at that final match those guys played, that was against the Olympic team for Dominica, and they had them right there. So that is you can't buy that experience for those guys.
One final question.
Thank you. Last year, with so many young players coming in, you really had to rely on the older, more experienced players for that mentorship role. What are you seeing in the gym this year from the sophomores and how their voices have progressed?
Yeah, I think going into last year especially, a lot of times on teams you see this seniority pyramid, and we had to lean on each other last year because it's not like one of us had especially more experience than the other. Of course we did, like we were juniors, but we weren't seniors. And I think same thing going into this year, everyone has a voice. We try our hardest not to look at age. And I think that the sophomores specifically are coming in with a different mindset because it's hard as a freshman. I mean, everything in your life changes, but now they have a year of getting used to it. And yeah, same kind of thing. They're competitive. They're an extremely competitive class, but yeah, it's going to be a good year.
John, Lindsay, Kennedi, thanks very much for your time. Best of luck this season.
Yeah, thanks to all you guys being here.
Thank you,
awesome.
guys.
To the podium, head coach Jen Flynn Oldenburg in her 5th season has led the Buckeyes to 3 NCAA tournaments. Sydney Taylor, junior DS, played in all 29 matches and 101 sets last season for the Buckeyes. And in the end, Mia Tooman, the senior setter, who finished 5th in the Big Ten with the team-high 9.53 assists per set. Jen, an opening statement?
Yeah, I just welcome back to the Big Ten Media Days, and I think it's year 3, and it's bigger, better than ever, and appreciate everybody that's here. But Grace, gonna give you a shout out. Did it again. Yeah, you and your crew just set the standard and continue to do more for the sport of volleyball, and we appreciate it. I think it's cool for our athletes to get that opportunity, and I like this touch this year with these elementary school students. Like, you're part of the process, and you can see what's next. And I think for us, we're always talking about what's next. For our athletes and what their careers are. There's a path ahead of you. So, welcome to them as well. So, thanks again. It's going to be a really cool year of volleyball, adding 4 schools. I think that's really exciting, and yeah, we're ready for it.
We'll open it up to questions. Just a reminder, please state your name and affiliation when you ask a question.
Alana Goldman, 5 wins. Last year was a bit of a rebuilding season for you all. What have you seen in the gym in the spring that you're looking forward to showing the world this fall?
Me? Yeah, I think we're just ready to go. We got having Lonnie and Raider back is huge, and we're just happy to have them. They bring such a great energy and atmosphere, and the freshmen that came in they're so ready, they're so excited, and I feel like we just feel super connected, and we're just ready to show everyone what we've been working on, and yeah, we're just super excited.
Yeah, I think we have more depth, which is important. I think that's something we were lacking last year. We took more losses than we wanted, but we're going to use that rebuilding year to fuel us this year, and we're excited to get back into this conference and get us ready for the postseason. That's our mission.
Hi guys, Aaron Ferguson, Wisconsin State Journal. Jen, you guys added Ella Ropel through the portal. What do you like about her? And for the players, how have you gotten to know her, and what do you like about her, whether it's on the court or just off it?
Yeah, I mean, she's a big physical presence. I 6 rotation outside that was highly recruited, and just didn't have the opportunities that she probably wanted at Wisconsin. And now she's here with us, and she feels like she's home, which is really exciting. I think she brings a lot to us in the gym, like just the level of play, the expectation, the standard. I think she's elevated that, and off the court, she fits. And I think that's a big part of our culture, the people that you have in it, and she's a Buckeye, and she'll be one for life.
Yeah, she's been a huge voice for us already throughout spring and through summer. So just getting to have her right away before things get started is huge for us. But the way she's fit in and raised the standard, brought her voice, been a leader for us has been huge. But also just her as a person has fit with our team so well and has been a glue to our team of bringing everyone together. And I just look forward to playing next to her coming up shortly. But yeah, I love her.
Yeah, I agree. I think she fits right in. She's so funny and just brings a great energy every day to practice. Her voice is loud and it's effective. And I think, I'm excited to play with her and see what she's all about.
Coach, we've heard a couple of players here at the podium talk about playing at Covelli and how special that is for them coming in as an outside team. What makes that place so special?
I think it's how it was designed. I think the lower bowl where most people sit is close to the court. It gets loud in there. I think you never miss a point. So if you go get a popcorn and a water and you need your snacks, you could still watch every point of the match, the concourse level. And so I think that environment's really special. This year we revealed a new court, so that always adds a little bit more excitement. But, I think it's the knowledge of our fan base is big. We're a volleyball city, so to have that support of our fans and just have it every day in Covelli is super special. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think going off of that, just Buckeye Nation alone, they always show out and they're always giving 100% to every game. They never disappoint, and I love playing for them, and I'm excited to play for them again this year.
For Mia and Sydney, you both come from a family of athletes. I was hoping you could talk a little bit about how that inspires you and drives you and what it means to represent The Ohio State University.
Yeah, my family is full of athletes, but my oldest brother played football at Ohio State, and when I was getting recruited and going through the process, he was just a big role model for me, but seeing him be a Buckeye and what it means to go to The Ohio State University was so special. He's been a mentor and everything, whether it's school, faith, family, all those things. He's just been a huge role model for me. So having him down the road 10, 15 minutes has been so awesome. But yeah, my family's there every step of the way, and just having athletes, a good day or bad day, they love and support me no matter what.
Yeah, my dad played at the school team up north, but I think it was just really cool to go through the recruiting process where he's like, where I want you to go, but I want you to make this decision for you. And he really just took a back seat and said, I want you to pray about it. I want you to think about it, talk about it to all your loved ones. And he let me make the decision and he gave me his full support. He's definitely not a Buckeye fan, but he knows. But he knows that you can't deny what Ohio State brings to the table, and he knows that this is the perfect fit for me. And I'm just excited to kind of pave my own way here. I'm the first one in my family to be here, so I'm thrilled, excited.
How about your mom? Let's talk about your mom a little bit.
Oh yeah, my mom's a stud. But she honestly, in the volleyball world, she was everything, just so supportive and just someone I could talk to about anything. She's been through it, played at the highest level for the Women's USA volleyball team, and she's just such a strong, I'm getting emotional. She's just such a strong role model for me, and I couldn't even imagine my journey without her presence and her guidance, through the volleyball world.
Mia, does Dad wear gear?
He does.
Can you send us a picture so we can put it on air?
Of course I will. He will wear as long as it says Tumen number 9 in volleyball. It has to say volleyball on it, but he will rock it to the home games, which I appreciate. He's my biggest fan, guys, I promise.
I love the family dynamic that you guys have as someone who grew up in Cleveland and saw a lot of the Michigan and Ohio State stuff. But my question is for both of you players. Both of you have serve-receive responsibilities. What is the most difficult serve to receive and why? And then coach, when they're finished, who around the conference has some of the best serves that you've seen?
got to think about this one.
I'll go. I set the second ball, but I mean, they do a great job of handling all the tough serves. I think we just talk about, get it nice and high in the middle of the court. I'll just go chase it down, like when we know a tough server's on the other side of the net. But they do a great job. I just kind of follow in their lead.
Yeah, I think overall, just in the Big Ten, we're a great serving conference. So there's some heavy serves and good floats on all teams. I think some of the top spins are great. Indiana has a few top spins back-to-back, so they're fun. We love tough serves. So.
Yeah, I mean, Cameron Hayworth comes to mind. I mean, she's chasing a record, and so, she's super competitive. I think she's going to go after it again this year. Brooke Mosher, presented some challenges. Is it Mosher or Moser? Do we know? Moser. Yeah, I don't want to, sorry. Brooke, I'm sorry. But yeah, she presented some challenges. But, at the end of the day, we have to have the mentality of getting the ball up and forward, and Mia does a good job of running the offense, and if we're in system, out of system, we still need to take good swings. And so regardless of that first ball, we need to have a heavy third contact. So I think the onus is on that second contact, especially in our league with how aggressive and powerful serves are, but also defensively, like what we have to create on defense.
Jen, you mentioned that we're thrilled to have Brunson Academy students here, 7th and 8th graders, who are dipping their toe in journalism. They'd like to ask you a couple questions.
Yeah, excellent.
My name is Serenity Scott from Brunson Elementary, and my question is for the coach. There has been an increase in the number of female coaches in the Big Ten. How does it feel to be a part of that movement?
I think it's something special, and I think it's, I maybe took it for granted and something I didn't think about early in the career, but as we get into it more and more, I think it's important for our younger generations to see that. It's important for our athletes to see that you can have a family and a dynamic that we do and still compete and do a great job at a high level. And that's regardless of what profession. But I think in our sport, since it's a female sport, the more female leaders that are taking over programs, I think it's super important. And it's cool to see it across the conference and continue to see it across the nation. That's a great question. Thank you.
My name is Jason West from Brunson Elementary. My question is for the coach. For this upcoming season, what are you looking most forward to for your team?
It's hard to sum up in just a couple of sentences. Another good question. I think we're looking forward to getting back on the court together and really taking last year and the rebuild that we had and putting it forward and getting back into the postseason. We're on a mission to get to there, and whatever it takes to get there inside of a really tough conference is going to be a task ahead of us, but one that they're ready for. So just getting back to competing.
Wait, my name is Duke and I am from Brunson Elementary School. Have y'all ever went home and worried about y'all teammates?
Yeah, all the time. I think we're super close, and I'm always thinking about my teammates. They're my best friends. They're like my second family, so I worry about them a lot. If something's going wrong, they're hopefully nothing go wrong, but I do worry about them a lot. I think about them all the time. They're like second family.
I think overall, we have very good communication with each other. So whether it's something good or something's up with them, we're in very good communication with each other. And whether that's our team text group chat or our Snapchat, even before practice, at class, people are texting each other, how are you and all that stuff. And just our locker room is a very safe place for us and always checking in on each other. But definitely when we go home, we're still checking in on each other and texting each other all the time.
Lincoln Arneal, Huskers Illustrated. Jen, you had one of the more difficult non-conference schedules last year. Did you learn anything from that? Did you change your approach? And also, did adding the new 4 West Coast teams change your mindset for how you go about scheduling non-conference?
Well, I think you can see that the approach was changed. So appreciate that. I think scheduling is one of the most difficult things we do in the non-conference. The Big Ten schedule we're presented, but the non-conference we choose. And the first couple of years, it's a lot of guarantees and returns, things that were promised that I wanted to hold on to from the previous staff. And so, some of those things that happened were because of years past. I also like to schedule tough, and you saw that the last 2 years. I think that prepares us for the Big Ten. I think the unknowns of the Big Ten this year changed my philosophy, just because we get a shot at everybody once and maybe 3 people twice, right? So that you have to look at RPI, you have to figure out what's going to get you in the best position to host first and second round, or can you host regionals and the regional finals? I think you look at all those things, but the biggest thing for this group is getting back to the postseason. And so I think the approach changed with the unknown of the Big Ten, but also we want to host first and second round, and that's our path. And so I think the schedule reflects that. I think we have really good RPI teams in the non-conference, and we're excited to compete against them.
Coach, you talked a bit about how Columbus is a really great volleyball city, and you're getting more fans by the day. What's it been like having the professional team in the city, and what interaction are you having with their organization?
I think it's just cool globally, in our nation, but to have it in our city, I think it's extra special. Having, players that they've watched play join that team. Michelle Bartsch joined the Fury late last season. So to have her, in the morning in our gym, working with our players, and then going and training in the afternoon or playing in a match that night, I think it's important to see that it's possible. And that connection is certainly there with the Fury, but also throughout the whole PVF, I think with Love coming up, you're just seeing more and more players that they've played against or watched growing up competing on U.S. soil, and that's super important. So I think the connection with the Fury, but also both leagues are there with all of our connections that we have as a staff, and it's just good. It's good for the sport, and I'm excited to see the growth.
My name is Serena Scott from Nelson Brunson Elementary, and my question is for the players. So, like, when you get older and when you start a family and stuff of your own, if you want to, do you think you would still be talking to your teammates a few years from now?
Oh, for sure. Definitely, as volleyball ends, it ends for everyone. Those relationships will definitely be carried on, and the memories and laughs, the cries, all those, the good and bad, will all make the relationships with each other definitely carry on. And whether it's weddings, good days, bad, like anything, we'll definitely stay in contact. And just being in Columbus, definitely have good alumni weekends and catch up with each other all the time.
Yeah, I think like the saying, you don't always remember what people say, but you remember how they make you feel, like just kind of resonates with this team. Like, we're not going to remember every individual game or practice, but just like the way we are with each other, like how we care about each other, like we'll never forget those. And I think this is family, this is lifelong friendships for sure, so 100%.
It may be easy to take, Emily's been great for a number of years. It may be easy to take her for granted, but what ways have you seen her continue to elevate her game? And I said you've played with her for a number of years too. How have you seen her challenge herself and continue to raise her level?
Yeah, she's done so much for Ohio State. Just growing up with her and she's kind of like my big sister because I played a year younger than her. Just seeing her confidence, I think, from high school, beginning of her college career till now, has just grown tremendously, and she's been that leader for our team and has really took on that role with that confidence that the rest of the team also needs, because when she's confident, everyone else is confident. But just her as a person too, her as a woman, she's awesome, and she keeps the glue to our team together, and yeah.
Yeah, I think she's always had a presence. She was a threat as a freshman, and in each year, she's keyed on. She's the scouting report, and with some additions. I think this year she's going to bring a consistency. Last year she took a huge load on for us, playing on the left and passing, and we kind of threw her into the fire with that, and she held her own, if not more. But I think this year the consistency that she brings, leadership, presence, production, I think it's just going to take off even more. So look out, world. Londot's ready.
Jen, Sydney, Via, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great season.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, one more. Oh,
Larry cuts me off.
Oh,
all the
okay.
time.
Well, she's behind. It's Sue.
Sue with Big Ten Network. Just real quick, you guys mentioned the freshman ads early. What do you say to them to get them ready for the Big Ten, for the gauntlet that is the Big Ten, both physically and emotionally?
I'll go first. Yeah, I would just say, something that I learned is just, we put in so much work in practice and in preseason, and then when it's showtime, like, just do your thing. Like, don't overthink it. Don't think about what you need to do, what you're supposed to do, but just play your game. It's going to come naturally, and we're so supportive of each other. Like, if you're stressed, just make eye contact, squeeze someone's hand. Like, we're all in this together, but, just do your thing, play your game.
It all starts with just the standard in our gym, from the coaches to the captains to every single person on our team. That standard is raised time and time again. And the minute they walk in that door, they're held to that standard, and they know that. So coming into the Big Ten isn't a surprise to them, because that standard has been held the day they walked in, whether that's in the spring or in the summer, in the weight room, conditioning, off the court, on the court, all those things. They know what's expected of them, and they're ready for it.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Our final session of the day, we welcome the Washington Huskies to the podium and also to the Big Ten Conference. Leslie Gabriel, in her second season as a player and a coach, she has been with Washington for nearly 30 years, and in her first year led the Huskies to the NCAA tournament. Amani Bush, before missing last season due to an injury, she was all Pac-12, and in the end, Maddie Inslee, the senior outside hitter, led the Huskies last year with 3.1 kills per set. Coach, opening statement?
Hey, thank you. First, I want to just thank the Big Ten Conference, the Big Ten Network, for putting on this Media Day event. It's not only great for our players and program, but also for our sport. Thank you to all the media that are here today. You make this experience a special one for our players. Finally, I want to thank my SWA, Kim Durand, and our Assistant Director of Media Relations, Michael Breskis, and also Josie, our media person, for joining us today for our event. Today is an exciting day for us, as it marks a new era in volleyball as we enter our first year into the Big Ten. It is an honor to be a part of this great conference. I believe that the Big Ten is one of the best volleyball conferences in the country. It's filled top to bottom with some of the best teams, coaches, and players in the country. The other exciting thing is the fan support that each institution has for volleyball. We are excited again to be in the Big Ten and can't wait to get started. Washington Volleyball has been one of the top programs in this century, winning both Pac-10, Pac-12 titles, reaching Final Fours, and winning a national championship. We are a program that strives to win conference and national championships each year. As we transition to this new conference and take on this new challenge, we're going to have to raise our level of play while staying true to who we are as a program. Last season, we didn't achieve what we wanted to achieve. With a small roster hit with injuries throughout the season, we were unable to compete like we wanted. In a season filled with such adversity, the thing that I appreciated the most from the players and staff was a sense of resiliency and grit that they showed throughout the season. Each day, the players showed up ready to work and compete. Looking to this year, we are excited about the depth of our roster, returning most of our starting lineup from last year, the return of Amani Bush, and with the additions of 3 transfers and a freshman class that was ranked 10th in the country. We are excited to get in the gym as a full team and get to work. Today, I have Maddie Inslee and Amani Bush. Both players are established pin attackers that have played major roles and carried big loads for our team during their time here at UW. They are smart, competitive, hardworking women that are great leaders in our program and for the young women in our community. And with that, we're happy to take any questions.
So just a reminder, please state your name and affiliation prior to asking your question. And we will start with Alana.
Good afternoon. I don't know what time it is anymore. Good afternoon, Alana Goldman, 5 wins. Imani, I wanted to ask about your experience playing with the Canadian national team this summer. What are some of the takeaways that you're looking forward to bringing back to Washington, and how has that made you think about your playing career after college?
Yeah, it was a really amazing experience getting to compete at the highest level. We went to NORCECA Final 6 in the Dominican Republic, competed against some really gnarly teams. But more so personally, I just went into the off-season with the mindset of, I'm going to get my footing back with volleyball, I'm going to get all my skills back, and I'm going to get better at my skills, which I feel like I accomplished. And just kind of establishing myself as a 6th rotation hitter, I worked on that a lot over the summer. Along with great coaches and great teammates, I feel like I made big strides.
Coach, talk into it. Lincoln Arneal, Huskers Illustrated. Coach, you mentioned that you didn't achieve your goals last year, but you got a couple new freshmen in, highly touted. How do you expect them to contribute out of the gates?
Yeah, you know, one of the things that were important to us as a staff was that we bring in a lot of players going into this season so that we have depth. And we're excited about the new players that we have. You know, we have 3 transfers coming in, mixed in with 3 freshmen, like you mentioned. And what I'm looking forward most is just who will rise when competition happens. You know, I think everyone on our roster is able to compete and earn a spot. And so let's get in there and compete and see what happens.
Steve McGargy from the Associated Press. For each of you, I was just wondering what y'all have done during the off season to kind of prepare for the travel demands of switching conferences, playing in kind of a coast-to-coast league like this one.
Yeah, you know, I've been able to sit down with our administration and with my staff and figure out, you know, what's the best way for us to travel? When is the best time? You know, is it best to fly commercial? Is it best to charter? And so our department and our staff, we put a lot of time and thought into that. Sorry. So there's been a lot of really good decisions to do that so that we get to the places that we need to, and the girls can be well rested to compete.
As players, we don't have much control over it. We kind of just got to go with the flow. So I feel like we've just kind of focused on being present, taking the moment as it comes, staying focused on the volleyball side. We don't have control over our travel, where we stay, what time we leave. So we're just going to take it one day at a time and try and stay on top of our schoolwork and stay focused on volleyball.
Yeah, I think a big thing for us is staying positive through adversity, especially with things that we can't control, like the traveling and our schedule and all that stuff. But I think that we've made big strides over the past couple training blocks, and I'm excited to see how we do.
For Maddie, you carried a very heavy load last year. What does it mean to have Imani back and healthy, and how is that going to change your role a little bit with the team this year?
Yeah, I mean, it means the world to me. I kind of knew what she was going through last year because I had something kind of similar happen to me this season before. And just to see her come back so fast and to see her killing it on Team Canada is just like, makes me emotional a little bit. Like, I'm just so excited for her, and I can't wait to see what she does this season.
For the players, we talked about the travel possibility, but what gyms are you looking forward to playing for the first time? I mean, what you've seen probably on TV or heard about them. What gyms do you look forward to playing in Big Ten?
Realistically, all of them. I can't wait to see all the gyms, but the big one that I'm looking forward to is at Wisconsin. We played there in the tournament, I think, 2 seasons ago, and we didn't play Wisconsin, but we played in the gym, and I can't wait to do it with Wisconsin across the net.
Yeah, and mine is Penn State. I feel like I've been hearing about this energy, this crazy gym, and I just can't wait to get there and experience it. So, yeah. I know.
Hi guys, Aaron Ferguson, Wisconsin State Journal. Welcome to the Big Ten. One of the things that Matt said from Oregon is that his calculations are that you got, at least his athletes will be in class more than the Pac-12 schedule had. Have you calculated that and found something similar?
You know, that's a good question. I know that that has been something that's looked at. I don't know the exact answer for that to give you at this time.
That's fine. And then just to follow up, obviously Keegan was at Washington for a little while. What advice has he given you about the transition or about travel or anything? Or is there even anything comparable, or is he just being quiet because he's a competitor now?
No, we're still friends. Obviously, we had a great working relationship, and we've been able to remain friends after. And he just talks about how great this conference is, you know, and how much they support volleyball, and how the network really wants volleyball to succeed and get them out in the forefront. And after going through this, everything he said is right. You know, the Big Ten, you guys do it right here. And it just makes it exciting for me as a coach to be able to showcase the players in our gym who work so hard. They deserve all this, that you guys work hard to get for them. So we're greatly honored and are excited to be a part of this conference.
Coach, we're honored to be with Brunson Academy. They're here today. Some aspiring journalists, 7th and 8th graders. They'd love to ask you some questions.
My name is Jason Weston from Brunson Elementary. My question for the players is, what is the one song that gets you hyped up for a big game? Before a big game.
I said this earlier, but DNA by Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, and mine right now is My House by Beyonce. But me and Maddie have this little duo song, From the D to the A, that I feel like is played before every single match. Yeah.
Do you agree with them? Are those good hype songs? Yeah.
Yeah, you said they're all right. They're all right.
Have you had my name is Duke Murray, and I'm from Brunson Elementary. I'm asking the students, have you ever had any other injuries other than your shoulder injury?
I feel like every other volleyball player, I've rolled my ankles more times than I can count. But other than that, my shoulder was the first big injury.
Yeah, I hurt my ankle and had ankle surgery 2 seasons ago, and that's the only big one I've had.
Another question for the players. So when y'all get drafted and play for like different teams, and it comes to the point to where y'all have to like play up against each other, how would y'all feel?
Go ahead. I'd feel excited. I mean, Maddie's just a competitor, and like she makes you bring it. So if I ever see her across the net, I'm gonna have to bring it. So I think it would be a good competitive game.
Yeah, I was gonna say ecstatic, because the fact that we're both playing pro volleyball is insane, considering that we came in as freshmen together. So I would just be stoked to be there, to be honest with you, playing against Monty Bush.
Coach, there's a lot of uncertainty kind of on the horizon, especially with the House settlement. Are you having conversations with administration about what the future could look like, and how do you deal with the uncertainty of what lies ahead for volleyball?
Yeah, you know, we're in exciting times. You know, we're having conversations of being able to pay student athletes, and yeah, our administration is staying on top of it and keeping us educated, you know, as we continue to move forward, and they're willing to make sure that we're supported in a way where we can compete with all the best schools out there.
There's been discussions about style of play between the former Pac-12 schools and the Midwestern Big Ten schools. I wanted to ask what you think your style of play is and what can people expect to see this season as you take on some of those really physical teams.
Yeah, I mean, historically, Washington has been a really strong serving and blocking team. Those have kind of been the pillars of our program. But I feel like more specifically this next season, you can see a group of girls that are ready to get after it, that will go hard and give it their all every single point, no matter if we win or lose the point. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think areas like defense are going to be a big deal for us, considering the Big Ten is so good at it and makes it hard for us to score. We're going to have to figure out offensive shots that are going to work against these better defensive teams. But yeah, Monty summed it up pretty good.
A lot of new rule changes coming this year. For the players, what are your thoughts on the double contact rule? And then, Coach, the two liberos, do you have any idea? Are you planning to utilize that or how to integrate that into the system?
Yeah, we're definitely looking at the two libero. You know, just will depend on just what our needs are for the team and if that is something that we need that will help us. And so it's definitely something that we're considering and that we'll look at.
Yeah, as far as the double rule, I am so thankful. Thank you. Probably like the worst hands ever, so that rule definitely went in my favor, but I don't know. As an outsider, I don't really do much of it, so I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, I think the double rule will just make, I don't know, passes that are way off the net, off the court, like shooting outside. I think it'll just make the game more elite. I'm excited to see what it's going to look like and how it's going to play into the game. Like, how far into doubles are we allowed to do? Like, can I hit it twice? Or like, so I'm excited to see that stuff.
Any other questions? If not, I have one final. So you've been through this series of speed dating sessions today, right? I'm curious, what was your favorite room, favorite question, favorite reaction throughout your first Big Ten Media Days?
Ooh, my favorite was the digital room with Emily. Me and Maddie got to play a bunch of games and just have fun. It was one of the ones where like felt like there was no pressure. Didn't feel like there was a camera in there staring at me. So yeah, it was one of the more fun.